you guys were saying, talking shit about my house as usual. So
it's not your house.
The whole crew here.
God damn.
It makes it so much easier to sell studio time when everybody thinks their house is a shithole.
I don't think your house is a shithole. It's like the only part of this house that is a shithole is always the area in which we fucking do this stuff at.
You need to take like $10,000 and just invest in this little corner.
$50 would make it better. Of Nottingham.
We're still working on getting the sheriff himself to come to the show. I don't know, that's all I got for this. We've had a pretty good pre-show chat. We'll see how it translates into the main show. Again, almost check it out. Hey guys, how we doing?
Good.
All right, so my little table for you to put your beers and coffees and whatnot on is inadequate, as is the chair that you sit your asses in.
Look at this thing, dude.
I mean, everybody else in the room has actually has at least purchased part of what we're using.
Yeah, I mean, I listen.
You're the only one that hasn't. And you're the loudest complainer.
What do you want? I mean, I have not said that I wouldn't purchase anything.
It's on thick carpet. Give it a break.
I mean,
it's on thick carpet.
I think he went to an estate sale and just like when their backs were turned, he cut out an 8-foot section and said, "I'm gonna go use that."
That is high quality IKEA stuff, man.
That carpet is brand new from Ollie's Bargain Outlet.
I like Ollie's.
They have some good stuff. But you're the king redneck here. I'm not good enough to be redneck. I'm not redneck enough. I'm only pink, as referred to last week.
Yeah, wasn't there? What was it that we said? No, if you were a real redneck, you would do this. What was it?
Was it killing animals?
Right.
Well, yeah,
we're the ones that haven't shot a ram, so
put a gun rack on.
We're all sheep because we haven't shot a ram.
Yeah.
That was that joke too.
That's okay. There was something though that we were like, wait a minute, you have ever done that? It wasn't. I mean, in addition to, but.
Well, it was the redneck part. Was him driving down the road with his kids in the truck.
I think that's the orientation period. That's the. Can I be a part of your club?
You've got to put a belt on them and attach some weights so they don't fly out of the back.
I mean, the little one was sitting inside the spare tire that's in the bed of the truck.
That makes it. Just hold on, it'll bounce.
That's funny.
Well, you and I have talked about our high school experience with our good friend David G. Blunt in a second.
Yeah, that was one instance.
That funness in his old Dodge Ram pickup truck. Right over there by the new shop, one of the back roads that goes from Kingston Pike back towards the landlord's office. There where those train tracks that run by the shop, right?
Oh, yeah.
When you get back up into that stuff, like right behind there, there's coming off of Kingston Pike, when it hits the railroad tracks, it drops. So when we were in high school, we and him were in the back of a buddy of ours pickup truck. And he knew about it. I didn't know where we were. Like, I knew where we were, but I didn't know that part of the road or whatever. So he just floored it. Hits that bump. Like, my fat ass was above the sidewalls of the bed of the truck. That was fun. It's a good time.
Well, there's probably a tailgate on the back of that truck, so you can't really fly out.
I suppose.
Well, open over, maybe.
Right. That's that would be the concern in that one, is to be the up and over. But he didn't have a bed liner to keep you from sliding around too that I do.
Listen, all I'm saying is if you want something in here, you just got to tell me what you want.
I don't want anything. I'm perfectly happy with the way things are. You're the complainer. You fix it.
And it is incredibly unfortunate that you're okay with that.
Okay.
I offered to bring over another office chair, and it was denied.
Yeah.
Why was it denied?
Because what am I going to wear?
I guess he didn't want it.
It's already crammed enough in here. What am I gonna do?
We need to put a sectional in here.
Okay, no, don't tell him that, because he'll go down to fucking Magnolia, and instead of calling somebody, it'll be like,
I just took a section out of here.
Look, Cherry Street and MLK, there's one just sitting on the fucking corner. Let me just throw it in the back of the truck. It'll be fine.
But it's raining today. That's got to smell
That's
terrible.
exactly when he would do it. Are you kidding me? Like, it smells wonderful. There's nothing wrong with it.
The rain washes out all the dirt.
Yeah, that's what he'd say. It's like, it doesn't have any bed bugs. It's been raining all day. He's not denying it.
Sure, why not?
People now are listening and going, click. And
Well,
And again, and hold on, let me see if I can say first. If they're listening in the first place, or if they've listened this long, that's the AC line.
yeah.
I'm
that's
sorry
true.
if you've listened this long.
I
according to AC.
am, but I do apologize.
Right, because nothing exudes confidence and quality of creation. Like, this sucks. Why are you listening to this?
Self-deprecating humor is the best humor.
I suppose.
People identify with it.
Mm-hmm. It's true.
All right. Well, then it's my intentional plan to make this more
That's not true.
identifiable in the
That's
shabbiness that is the studio.
You can't in our society. You can't criticize him for how he identifies.
Oh, I absolutely can.
No, it's racist.
Okay, I'm racist then.
On that, have you guys have you actually gone through and read the Georgia stuff? The racist Georgia voting laws?
Well, the funny thing is they moved. So they were mad about the Georgia laws, which is Georgia has the most concentration of African Americans for any state.
Okay.
They move it out of that state, which is going to bring millions of dollars to that state, to Colorado that only has like 10%
Oh yeah, the economics part of it.
black population.
Right.
And then Colorado has tougher laws currently on voting than Georgia. Like, Georgia was going towards what Colorado's voting laws are, which doesn't make any sense on why they pulled that.
Well, the simple answer is why it's a big deal, because it's a swing. It's become a swing state where it hadn't been for a while.
I know, it's crazy. People have to have IDs to vote. I mean, you should just be able to show up at the poll and just tell them a
Apparently,
name
that's
and
how California
vote.
works. Like, you just tell them your name in California.
That's
I don't
why I
have-
hate California.
I don't have enough of that information in front of me. I'm sure that that's true. I'm just
Right. I don't know that for 100% fact either. But I was listening to Rogan earlier today, and he had Dan Crenshaw on the show, and they were talking about this Georgia voting thing and all that stuff. Crenshaw his thing was like, you go up to New Jersey, and there's stricter voting laws in New Jersey than there are in Georgia.
so. Regardless of whether or not we have read all however many fucking couple hundred pages of this law or not, I do think it is it's convenient that Georgia goes blue, and now we're having the conversation about what we need to change.
Well,
That's the concern I have about it. I don't care about whether or not it actually is or isn't racist.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm just they could have had this conversation 4 years ago, but they didn't.
But it's Georgia going blue nationally. Georgia as a state is still a pretty red state as far as state legislation and stuff like that.
Most states, states are.
But that's that red state trying to protect itself from turning blue to turning to a blue local state as well as a blue federal state.
that's
I
because
understand.
I don't disagree, but that's what it is to me as I see it.
That's because we've not had this bad of voter fraud in the past, and that's why all these people are changing these laws.
I don't agree with that.
The voter fraud part?
No, I think that. Let me rephrase. I think the other reason why that the politicians in Georgia even had any interest whatsoever in changing or updating or whatever however we want to phrase it, is they were concerned that this is a way for us to not be in office in the future. So we've got to fix this stuff. I think that was the motivation. I don't think the motivation was, wow, there's a lot of voter fraud in Georgia this year. I don't think that was their motivation. I really don't.
Oh no, I think that is the reason why, because there was a lot of, well, I mean, I guess the missing ballots and all that kind of stuff. You're not going to fix by changing the laws. If there was, I understand what you're saying, yeah, because if there is, the 400,000 ballots that they're missing right now that they can't account for, what happened to these 400,000 ballots when it was 100,000, I think, difference in the election. You're right, making a new law on voter fraud, on voting is not going to change. They're still missing those ballots.
Right. Mm-hmm. Well, the big shift, too, is that it takes it away from signature verification to an ID verification. That's one of the big things that the Georgia law was trying to do, at least generously interpreting the reasons why. It was to move to an ID as verification instead of a signature, because, my joke being my signature is not the same today as it was yesterday, let alone when I first registered to vote, or when I registered to vote after moving into this district that I'm in now, almost 10 years ago now. My signature is not the same. And so there's only two options that the election commission is going to do, is they're going to throw it out because my signature is bad, or they're going to keep it. And then it's like, well, which one's the right one. They don't know because they don't know me and they didn't see me do it, and there's no verification other than that signature, which is unlikely to be very accurate over any span of time.
How much is your signature actually?
What's your credit score? You gonna say worth?
Yeah, like, well, that's what I'm saying. Because, like, my house that I bought 2.5 years ago, when I went through the underwriting, the underwriter did not like my signature because she said you need to read all the letters in your signature. So when I signed my house, I had to basically just write it legible so somebody could read my signature on every single document. Right. Which is not my signature on anything else, not on my ID, not on anything. So, what's the point of that?
Yeah.
I mean, could I get out of the, like, if I default on a loan and they try to come after me, like, I didn't sign that. That's not my signature.
Right.
What is that? That's what I'm saying. What does your signature mean?
That's a good question. I aside from credit score, I think, especially considering you don't sign your name like that, anybody else could follow behind you and say, "Hi, I'm Max Smith, and this is how I sign my name."
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. I think that this Georgia thing, though, is an example of, if we're just speaking in generalities about whether it's racist or not, or whether it's, inclusive or not, I think this is just an example of, we'd have to go through a list of all the things that's included in this, and then determine whether or not this is something that should actually be a law. I think it's incredibly reasonable to have an ID to be able to vote. I don't think that that's racist at all, but I do think that there are certain things in there that if we looked at, we would say,
Right,
I wonder why we did this.
I think it's almost the opposite. It's almost more racist to assume that a certain race has less IDs per capita or whatever than
the reality. I mean, that is the reality.
Like it's
in Georgia,
more difficult for.
But in Georgia, it's free to get just a state ID. If you want a state ID, you need to have birth certificate and social security number to get a state ID. So you can get a state ID for free. So there shouldn't be a reason why somebody can't get a state ID. You can go down to the health department and get to print off your birth certificate. If you don't know your social security number, then you probably should just go crawl in a hole and die. Like,
when I had to get my birth certificate, I had to file to the hospital that I was born in, which is not even this state.
Well, yes, if you're not in this,
that didn't cost money.
If you're not in this state, but if you just go down to the health department, and if you're born in that area, which, I mean, I would gander that the most people that are in Georgia or in Atlanta that don't have IDs probably were born in Atlanta.
It's probably fair, assuming that they're not homeless. But yeah.
Yeah. So I mean.
Yeah. No, I agree with that.
I mean, yeah, it's a little harder when you're out of state. Like if I want to get a copy of my birth certificate, I have to contact Illinois, submit some stuff, and they have to mail it to me, and there's a cost for it.
Yeah.
I think part of it kind of goes into the past few elections. Saw all the videos. I don't know if they were hyped up, but the hours-long lines just to go and vote. They were reporting that it was more in kind of lower income areas that people were waiting so much longer to go vote. I mean, I saw it here years ago when I voted. I went to a more affluent part of town, and I went straight to the person. I was next in line to vote.
Well,
I literally didn't wait a second. And they were like, "Oh, you're at the wrong polling place." Because I went to the closest school where I live, and I thought that's where my polling place was. And it ended up being a different school that was in kind of medium to lower income area. And I waited an hour and a half to go and vote. And
because there were more people.
I was like, wait.
Were there more people there waiting with you, or was it that there were more election workers at the first one you went to? Was it a result of the polling stations, changes in the polling station, or changes in the number of people at a polling station?
Pretty sure I saw more at the first one that I went to. There was no wait.
So there was more people working it, so it was more efficient moving through the line of people. It wasn't that there were more people.
No, so Cartman explains the best. Poor people tend to live in clusters. And, if you have a cluster amount of people that live together, they're going to have all the same voting poll or whatever. So you're going to have more people there. If you're in a place that it has less people living in, their polling area is going to have less people. I mean, that's just a given thing.
Could tie into that city's financial status, where they've got the money to hire and pay for more for workers to be in that area.
But the new law expands voting. It expands the hours from what it currently is. But if you
it opens up a lot more of the early voting stuff that like we do here in Tennessee. We do a ton of early voting.
Yeah, but if you just watch Facebook or whoever or whatever, people are like, oh, they're limiting the hours. They're not. It's actually expanding if you actually read the bill, but people don't want to do their own research. They want to just go.
Sure.
Tom said this,
right.
so this must be true.
It goes back to the Facebook thing we said about like 9-10 months ago about infants dying or whatever it was. The Facebook person that Seth knew about. I mean, if you're just reading a headline, then you're an idiot. I mean, you really need to spend the time and look into it. And
that goes many months back.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, you know, like these things are complicated, and just say, well, it's racist. Well, if you haven't looked at it, then you're an idiot. I mean, I haven't read all of it by any means. All I do
or
know,
any of it.
well, some of it. I mean, but again, though, it's a little disingenuous to say that you know, we're looking to improve access. Oh, and by the way, the ones that were looking to improve access actually lost the state, and they're the ones that pushed the bill. I'm like, well, that doesn't seem consistent. So, in the very least, in the back of my mind, I'm like, there's no way that they're going to try to make it easier for folks that would vote against them. Just in the nature of power, it would seem like that's not the case.
Right. That would not be the natural order.
Well, I mean, is it... So that's going off the assumption that, you know, if you're a Republican, you only care about your Republican voters and not your actual state. Or if you're a Democrat, you only care about your Democrat voters and not actually doing good for the community.
I would take what you said to tweak it a little bit, is that if you're an elected official, you care more about your party than you do your people, period, for either party.
Which is unfortunate.
Right. You care more about your
which
party
is
and the
unfortunate.
power of your party than the people you represent, even if they're the people that voted for you or the people that didn't. You care more about the power of your party than you do about either party's voters.
And you only care about the power of your party because you get their backing and you get to have your desk and not have to work an actual job.
Well, is it... I think it's a little deeper than that. You care about... You don't care. It's not about your party or the people that are voting for you. You care about whatever gets you reelected again.
That's essentially...
I agree. I agree and I disagree. I wholly agree with the general sentiment of it, but at the same time, it's not, because you take a lame duck president who is still advocating for the issues that the party stands for, even though he doesn't have he's not going to get reelected. He can't get reelected. You know, and so they're still playing the game for the power of the party, not just for themselves, because there is no future job. I mean, I guess you can,
because it hurts. It hurts.
They want to protect the party.
Yeah, the party. Yeah.
As much as for in general, yes, 100%. It's all about getting elected again. It's all about keeping the job. But even in the situations where it's I'm going to go out of this one because I'm going to go into a different job title or something like that, or I was the president and I ran my 2 terms out and I can't run again. And how many presidents other than Taft have done anything in government after being president? Not many continue.
It depends. I mean, come on, we need some operating definitions of that. I think. I mean, like, really, done anything? What do you mean?
Done anything in an elected position post?
I don't know why elected position matters. I mean, I think we're going down a...
Right.
I'm pretty sure that
matters.
Bill Clinton's fondled a bunch of women since he's been out of president, and that was probably something.
Yeah.
Consenting adults do it. Consenting adults do it.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Yeah. I'm not saying it's a bad thing.
I'm not saying it's anything.
I heard this guy, he was talking about, he said, all the great presidents had tragedy. He said, Lincoln was assassinated, Kennedy was assassinated, Bill Clinton married Hillary. I think, though, this is a side thing that just popped in my brain about, I think if you run for president, you have to give up whatever you're doing. Like, you can't be like, oh, I'm a senator. I don't want to give up my Senate seat because I want to run for president. I think if you want to run for president, you can't. You shouldn't be right. You shouldn't be able to hold your...
Yeah, I've always kind of wondered about that, too.
Because
our election cycle is so damn long that they're campaigning for 6-9 months at a time.
Yeah.
And it's like... What are you doing legislatively that you're supposed to be doing? Like, don't you still have a fucking day job?
Don't you have a job?
Yeah.
You can't tell your current boss, like, hey, I'm going to go look for another job for the next year, but I still need you to pay me
at the same time
while I do that. And if I don't get that job, I still want to keep my current job.
Right. Yeah, they don't want to give it up in the chance that they lose, because they're going up against 10 other people in a presidential race or whatever.
Well, so you have currently you have what?
So they're kind of stuck in the middle, like,
Sanders.
I don't want to give it up, but
Elizabeth Warren, she still holds her Senate seat, right? Tulsi Gabbard just got out Like she was in seat while she was running, but her term ended.
Hold on a minute. So you're talking about being a secretary of you're talking about being in a cabinet. You should lose your position as a senator if you're in the cabinet.
No, I was talking about people that we were talking about people that were running for.
I understand that,
and that's who I was like, because Bernie Sanders was a senator the whole time. He's still a senator after the fact.
Okay, all right.
Tulsi was, but her term ended with that, so she was campaigning for a new job after the fact.
Yeah, she couldn't run for Senate and for president.
Right. Wasn't Elizabeth Warren? Wasn't she a senator? Is she still a senator?
She still is.
I think so, yeah.
Okay. Like Buttigieg was a mayor, and he kept his mayorship until he retired from that to go be the transportation czar or whatever that job title is.
Secretary?
Sure. Czar works.
Czar.
I don't know. They'd use it all the time on certain stuff. Like they have
the fucking dumbass Facebook people. Hi, this is the defense czar. It's not the defense czar. He's the secretary of defense.
No, they've used it on other stuff, and they're not secretaries. I agree, but they've used it on other stuff where it was like
it's a made up fucking position.
Okay.
Can you not be the nurse czar?
Huh?
Nurse czar?
Nurser.
Nurser. That's what
I'm a nurser.
Nurser.
Say it all as one word. One word.
It's one word. Nurser.
Anyway, I was just following up with examples of the point that they were making. I mean,
it happens every year. Sure.
I used it. I used all Democrats, but you could have had
Mitt Romney
and Rubio and Ted Cruz and all that kind of stuff. And I agree. I mean, like the same making the better point of it. It's like, okay, you can go ask for a new job while you're working, but you can't not do your current job while you're working towards your new job. Like that's.
I think I saw stories, of them, flying back to Washington for certain, I'm assuming, important votes. The kind of like the day-to-day
what they thought was
voting
important
and discussion, right?
Because it's the vote that gets them cred for what they're working on.
100%. And the taxpayers are paying for the flight.
Yeah.
And watching some of the state Senate and Congress, I swear I've seen some votes where people just get up and walk out. I mean, maybe they're going on a bathroom break, but I started to wonder if maybe they didn't want to have on a record, voting this up or down, yay or nay.
Oh, there's a lot of that where they just don't show up for the vote because they don't want on record.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which is shitty. I think, how many of our senators and representatives we have, when there's a vote, whether you're there or not, you need to cast your vote. It needs to be, that's your fucking job.
Yeah, some of the ones were just committees of 9, 10 people. We're like, you have, 3 no votes. So it was, a 3 to 4 vote with 3 no votes.
Or 3 not voted.
All right.
So
3 not voted or 3 abstained?
So 7 votes, and then 3 people that didn't vote. So
right.
Like 4, 3 against, and then 3.
I swear, I saw them on the screen
votes.
before. I'm like, did everybody just go to the bathroom? I'm like, what the hell's going on?
Yeah.
I mean, it would be like, if you were a nurse and an operating and you see this doctor's doing this heinous thing, you're like, oh, he's about to kill this guy. I don't want part of this. I'm just going to leave the room. The guy dies. I'm like, I wasn't in the room when that dude died, even though you knew what he was doing was bad.
Yeah.
I think you'd be comparable.
Are they paying me more money to walk away?
Well,
if they have
that's how politicians work.
Man, pay me more money. I might walk out of the room. Hell, I may stay in the room. I'll help you.
Pay me more money.
Give a fuck.
You just have to say I wasn't there.
Right,
Yeah.
because then it goes back to what we were saying earlier. It's the politics of it for getting the job again, because I don't want to go on record saying I'm against Medicare for all or whatever, because I have to vote no on it for 1,000 reasons, whatever it is, as the elected official, but I don't want to go on record on it because my constituents aren't going to like that.
I mean, you hear about votes, getting thrown back at people. It's like, oh, well, back in, 1999, you voted yes to this, so you support this. I was like, well, at the time, I thought it was a good idea.
Yeah, and that's not an acceptable answer.
Right.
What font is the Captain Crunch logo in?
Nice. Oh, I've always wondered that.
Is that your Google history?
Yeah, we were doing a school project for 4th grade. They do they're doing some Civil War stuff, and for a project they have to make a cereal box, and so we're making a fake cereal box, and he was assigned Stonewall Jackson, and so we turned Captain Crunch into Stonewall Jackson on the front of the cereal box we made for him, and we were trying to figure out what the font was so we could do. I think it was Confederate Crunch, I think is what we called it, and so we were trying to figure out what font that was in so we could put Confederate Crunch on the box and do all this stuff, which I'm sure if he ever has political aspirations, he's going to get busted for being a Confederate sympathizer for his 4th grade project on Stonewall Jackson.
Okay, so what's your explanation on black chick that likes guys with small dicks? What's that Google search What's your explanation on that one?
I do what I do when I'm alone. Don't worry about it.
So you'll go into a diatribe about Confederate crunch, but you want to talk about what he just asked?
Well, because that one's personal, where the other one was a kid story.
I mean, the other one may be a kid story too.
All right, hold on. The new Google search lets you remove stuff, so let me get that off there.
Captain Crunch still popped up afterwards.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe I do prefer you over the phone when you're not here and just calling in.
Calling him up. Hey, what are you looking at?
All right, good show.
Yep, that's it. Got Randy Pace coming in later tonight. That'll be fun.
Yeah.
He's lost his. He's gone off the rails since he. What's the word I want to look for here?
I finally took the shackles off of him.
Yeah, since he has less pressure or need to be as couth as I guess he used to be. So I'm curious how it's going to go with a non-party chair version.
A no holds bar.
Yeah. I'm mostly
He's like, now I can finally speak my mind.
In the colloquially incidents.
Keep working on it.
So
Yeah.
you having problems with...
I can't say that word. I struggle hard with that word.
Okay.
On your phone, there's like a voice memo. I do it to like record little music ditties that I come up with. You should try that and just you saying the word correctly.
I can put it on
you
the
can play it.
pad.
Oh,
yeah,
or do that too.
I'll put it on the sound pad, and every time I need to say it, I'll just say just push the button. It'll be applause today. So anyway, on the compass like that. So we'll come on that way. Or I could leave the applause on there, and I can applaud myself for saying it correctly, even though I cheated.
I'm for either one.
Okay, as long as we're all on the same page.
That's right.
Well, we got city races coming up for you two city residents.
Who's a city resident?
Those two. Not me and you. We don't pay the extra taxes for nothing.
Trash service.
My landlord pays that.
Yeah, you're right. You don't. That doesn't get passed on in rent or anything.
He agrees.
What? Why you got to ruin my fun?
Let's talk about this PPE stuff we were talking about outside.
All right, go ahead.
Hold on. What's the name? Hold on. Let me find the video because we can do the audio on it without.
All the way at the bottom. Oh, that video. I thought you meant the video I sent.
No, Elon Musk is an alien and he has monkeys talking.
Not talking, playing Pong with their mind.
I mean, it's a 30-minute video, so we're not watching the whole damn thing, but. OSHA. I mean, I'm just going to keep it, let it run in the background. But this is medical evaluations for workers who use respirators. Is that the whole thing? No. That's another video.
That's
Sorry, this one.
I was like, that's a long video, too.
That's what we're talking about. Do you really take a
this
test?
One's not even good enough for YouTube. It's on BitChute.
Which, you know when this came out? Last summer.
So it was right in the midst of it. So it's a BitChute. Distill the Truth is the I don't know what you want to call it, the show that this guy's producing.
This is where our media
is just
a propaganda machine. They're selling us on this mask idea. Even though Tony Fauci said, don't wear masks. They may even make things worse, and then he flip-flopped. Surgeon General said, don't wear masks. WHO said, don't wear masks, then do wear masks. Well, where do we go for information, right? How about we go to masks experts? How about that? How about forget doctors aren't mask experts? They bring in what? An OSHA professional. Occupational Safety Health Administration.
Thanks for letting us know what it stands for.
Focuses on air quality and what you need to do when wearing a mask, how to wear a mask. How about one of those experts? Or how about two? That's exactly what happened, and it went viral. Maybe you remember this.
We're very familiar with the whole mask conversation. It really hits kind of near and dear to both of our hearts, which is why we're paying very close attention to all of this, and we are very concerned as environmental health and safety professionals. Let's talk about masks. All right, so what do we know about this virus to begin with? We know that this particular virus is incredibly, incredibly tiny. It is so tiny that it's
all viruses are incredibly tiny. Jesus fucking Christ, lady.
So what that means when it comes to masks, and the homemade cloth masks in particular is really the hot topic that we want to address. They do literally nothing to protect you from disease transmission.
Okay, so that, I mean...
Not true.
So like just cutting a sleeve off my T-shirt, or instead of using it for toilet paper, I'll use it to cover my face. It has functional value?
It's better than nothing.
We had this conversation in the summer. I'm not sure why we're still having it. Like it is better than nothing. It doesn't take care of 100%. We had the same fucking conversation last summer. I don't know why we're still having it.
Okay, so
nothing has changed.
Okay, nothing has changed. Correct. So the masks, where they say they're 95% effective in stopping that, right?
Who said that?
OSHA. I just looked it up.
Okay.
That mask.
All masks.
It was talking about N95 mask is 95% effective.
Okay.
So a mask.
95 and the N95 comes from.
Maybe
that's the joke.
So then, why would somebody get a corona vaccination when the corona vaccination is not 95% effective?
I don't want to wear the mask all the time.
But it's still less than the corona, less than the mask.
Okay.
So then, why get the vaccination at all? Just wear a mask.
I just answered that. I don't want to wear the mask all the time.
So you go from 95 to 66%.
I don't go to 66. Pfizer is like 93, 94.
Are you sure?
I'm positive. Absolutely 100% positive.
I'm going to look that up.
I hope you do.
And you're on record.
Oh. I hope you do. I hope you do.
Continue speaking. I'll look it up. Go.
No, that's all I said. Like, why would...
I don't want to wear the mask all the time.
I highly encourage you guys to Google these ladies and that TV show and just kind of look at...
So, like, when you Google them, what are you...
this is
the problem I have.
I'm going to their sites that support them.
So, but like, it's easy to go to a right-wing media site to discredit these people because that site has an agenda just like this site has an agenda.
Like I said,
there's no neutral sites out there.
Like I said, if you want to find me some information, I'm happy to read it, but I couldn't find any credentials on these ladies. I went to the OSHA website, and the companies that they say they work for are not on their approved list of OSHA testing sites that are like nationally mandated.
So these ladies are just lying about what they do. That's what you're...
I think they're exaggerating what they do.
So they don't work with OSHA?
I don't think so.
I mean, work with OSHA or for OSHA?
I mean, they never said they work for OSHA. I think
they have certifications
they
for
say
training.
They do training for OSHA.
I think one of them has like construction background. So, she's going to construction work sites when,
All right, so from
94.5. Yes.
Oh, snap!
I know.
You're right.
I'm aware.
No, you said 93.
I said 93, 94. That's what I said.
It's 94.5.
Oh, fucking shit. You said 67. I'm a little closer.
No, that's what I have. The Janssen is 66.
Okay. Well.
But you only had to do one shot.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm hoping to find.
So
is that one shot.
One and you're 120.
Exactly, 120%. Did you hear about the school closing that? Where was that at? I just saw it on the some school had to close because they had 120 teachers call out sick after the second Moderna shot.
I mean, if it was me and I would call out.
There was I want to say it was Colorado. There was a place they were giving out vaccines that they halted for a number of hours because people were having adverse, like that. I guess if you get the shot, they make you wait like 15 minutes to make sure you don't start running a fever or having an immediate adverse reaction to it. But then when you looked at the numbers of the day, the story I was reading said it was like 1%, which is on average of people that have.
We don't look at percentages. You just got to throw out numbers, and that's what shocks people. It's not about percentages. It's about numbers.
I stay away from those motherfuckers. I have nothing to say to them because like they spew fucking nonsense, dude. Like it's like this bill's racist. How much have you read of it?
But it's not about truth nowadays. It's just about shock value.
Yeah.
I don't disagree with the truth / sarcasm that you're providing, but like I don't take the bait, man, because I don't give a motherfuck about those people. I really don't.
That was one thing they drilled into us in the statistics class I took, how you can take a bar graph or whatever, and depending on what you put is on that X and Y axis, you can make a bar graph, look like it's going up like a rocket. But when, you actually if you actually expanded it out, there's actually not much of a rise at all. It's kind of that perspective of what numbers you want to focus on.
Well, yeah, like if you look at stocks and you're like, man, this stock went up like 300% in the last week, and then you look at the yearly thing and it's actually down 700%.
Exactly.
But you're just looking at that small part of it.
I don't know what the fuck he's doing right now.
Googling.
I'm playing with stuff while you guys are talking about something else.
He's here Googling about an old dude?
Yeah.
He's pretty smart, actually. I think you'd agree. I think you'd agree with him and most of his stuff, actually.
Yeah, I've read a little bit of his stuff or heard other different stuff. I was just thinking about it because I was looking through our text thread and while you guys were talking about the it's the automatic of the sensational news story and all that kind of stuff. The problem is, and why I push back with you on that part, AC, is that it's like we have to engage it. While I agree when it gets into like just I'm here to argue kind of stuff. Yeah, you can avoid that engagement, but trying to go out and function in society when this is the culture and the narrative at play, it's hard not to engage with it at some level here or there, everywhere.
Here's why I don't. If it seems like that person is not willing to have an actual conversation about them potentially being wrong, then I'm not going to engage.
Right, I agree with you on a one-on-one conversation basis, but it's like, just being out in what public we do right now. I'm in the grocery stores all the time, and just different people that I interact with for work, and these narratives are so intrusive, for lack of a better word. They're everywhere. Everybody knows their version of it that they got from their news source, and then it's like people just they just spew it at you, and it's like you try not to on an individual basis, but it's constant and it's all the time. And so I think the bigger issue to play here is how do we fix this broader problem? Because not engaging with people who are capable of falling down the rabbit hole incorrectly doesn't get them out of the rabbit hole.
If they're not going to get out of the rabbit hole at all with legitimate dialogue, then I'm not going to engage.
Okay,
I'm going to go kill more deer. I don't give a fuck. I mean, truly, you can find out within 5 minutes of talking to somebody whether or not they're listening to what the fuck you're saying.
Right, but I guess
if they're not listening,
wait, what'd you say?
Killing more deer.
No, I wasn't listening to you. What'd you say?
If you have a conversation with somebody, I'm just not going to bother with it. I mean, I have better things I have to do.
I agree with you on the one-on-one individual basis kind of thing. But these are also people that are out there voting and are putting politicians and leaning on politicians. We have our Board of Health thing locally as the example. For at least argumentatively, is a particularly small group of people that quote unquote pushed the commission to doing this thing to the Board of Health. And this same small group of people are the same people that we're avoiding interaction with because they're impossible to go anywhere with.
I disagree. Here's what I'm actually saying. There are people on one side. There are folks on one side that don't want to have a conversation because they're not going to change their mind. There are people on the other side that are not going to have a conversation. They're not going to change their mind. There are motherfuckers in the middle that you can actually communicate with, which is exactly what happens in every federal election. You try to get undecided voters to actually take in the narrative that you're trying to spew. So at the end of the day, I don't give a fuck about the people that are entrenched in red and the people that are entrenched in blue. The people that I'm focused on are the folks that are actually willing to entertain a conversation. Everybody else, I don't give a fuck about.
Well, it's my, I have aunts and uncles in Iowa that, one of my aunts, she just, the whole 4 years of Trump just posted how much she hates Trump. Trump's piece of shit. Trump, hates Trump, can't stand Trump, like everything. And then the protest, the Black Lives Matter protest happened. And then she's like, I can't believe these people are out there destroying their demonstrations. No, they're protests.
Oh yeah, protest was that word. Not riots.
Not riots, exactly. I was trying to use the political, but and then all this stuff comes on, and then all her posts are very like how pro-Trump people would be post, and it's like
there's no difference. Is what you're saying?
It's weird because she has these very, very strong beliefs of how she feels about Trump, but then when it does not come to Trump herself, she has very, very Trump beliefs.
Sure.
Which is just weird that how people are just sheep. back again.
Yeah, sure. So that's an example of a person that I wouldn't engage with at all.
I don't engage with that shit at all.
Right, because like at the end of the day, it's not. So if you have whatever amount of time you have, if it's 30 minutes a week or whatever, 100% of your time is dedicated to talking to somebody that you're not going to convince them at all. Period. They're so indoctrinated with their dogma that they're not going to pay attention to you whatsoever. Then it's a waste of time. That's what I'm saying.
No, I agree with you. Like, if you can't, but I mean, what percentage of the population do you think vote based on what their family lineage thinks, or what they see on social media?
Wow. I mean, we could look at the last, say, 4 or 5 election cycles and find out how many Republicans voted for the president, and just compare. I mean, greater than 50%, probably.
What I'm saying is people don't actually. What I was saying is they don't actually try to vote for a person that they think is actually genuinely going to help them.
I agree.
Versus somebody that's voting because their dad says that, Trump's a fucking asshole, don't vote for Trump, or they're on social media and all their liberal friends say, don't vote for Trump. Like, or
the reverse, Biden's going to take your guns because Obama did. Well,
exactly.
I mean, I totally agree. I agree with that.
I just don't think people do actual research on.
I agree. I totally agree with that. I don't want to engage with those folks.
Right, and that's what
But I would gander it's probably 75% of the country.
Yeah, I was going low. It's a lot. I 100% agree. It's too damn much. It's way too much.
Right, because I mean, in general, people don't look at the person, and or if they do, it's more the reactionary version of it. Like, we've already seen it with the city races, which is super early. We've already had attack flyers go out. On how that goes, and it's like that's the I would assume that there's some research that goes behind these packs, these pack mailers and stuff that say that they have some effectiveness, and that and I've yelled at, I haven't gotten to yell at the new GOP chair, but I yelled at Matt Shears about it. I was like, I'm gonna have a really hard time voting for somebody ever if their platform is I'm not the other, and that's become the norm for a lot of campaigning too. It's not about what I do. It's not about what I'm going to do, not what I can do for you and what I'm going to do for our city or county or whatever. It's what they're going to do is evil, and I'm not that. Trump was the king of it.
But again, though, this is not an example. This is by design. It is so much easier to just vilify the other person, regardless.
Like, it's easier to get someone to make someone hate them versus making you like that person.
Well, I'm sure you've all seen those street interviews where they go on the street and they're like, whether it's Biden or Trump, when the election was going on, and they find somebody like, oh, who are you going to vote for? Oh, I'm going to vote for Biden. And they were like, well, we just want to read these quotes that Biden said, and they talk about what Trump said, and the people are like, yeah, I agree. Right. Or then they do the opposite, and they find a Trump person, and they say, oh, Biden, and it's like, people, because the person was told that was something that their politician said, they're going to agree with it.
Yeah,
and it's
like, on my team. It was on my team.
It's by design. This is by design. It feeds a two-party system. We talk about this ad nauseum. We talk about this all the time. This is by design,
for sure.
It's like, it's. I mean, you're a coach, so you probably deal with it, but like, why isn't Tommy playing? Because Tommy sucks. That's why fucking Tommy's 100%. Not playing.
Yeah, he's terrible.
He's terrible. Yeah. But like, oh, we'll get him in there and lose the game. It's okay.
Yeah, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. Pick a new sport.
Exactly. Well, you don't have to pick a new sport. You just have to know that you're going to practice a bunch and not play a lot.
That's also an option. Yeah,
you want to be on the team?
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, there's a lot of kids that love just sitting on the bench on the football team to be out there and
snacks.
Friday night football in their uniform that's never ever got grass on it, and like,
I got all the Gatorade I want to drink.
Yeah. I mean, so anyway, that's what I mean by not engaging, is that you have to have a person that you're having a conversation with that's willing to actually have the conversation. And if they're not, you just hit the eject button. You do something else with your time. It's not worth it. It doesn't advance anything.
So on another topic, what was this whole Medicare, Medicaid, new health plan you were talking about that you kind of like?
No, it was again, it was. I was listening to Rogan earlier, and I just blanked out on his name.
Crenshaw.
Crenshaw.
He has one eye.
He's the congressman, right? Okay, yeah. Okay, I thought that's what that was.
Patch, like, with the
I know what you're talking about. Yeah. The guy that they made fun of.
And he was talking about, like Medicare for All has been a big conversation currently, and like he said he was working on it. It hasn't, actually gotten out anywhere yet. But it's basically it's doing in lieu of the healthcare side for you. It puts like, I don't know, when you had insurance through your previous company, did you have a health savings plan?
Yes. I actually just spent it
a
couple months ago.
So, the general parameters of a health savings plan is you can do it, and it's usually a tax incentive for you to do it as the employee because it counts against your income, so it doesn't show up on your tax return as income. So if you put $5,000 in a year into this health savings plan, you pay $5,000 less worth of taxes at the end of the year, but you can only spend that money on healthcare stuff. And so, like, the idea being instead of having the hospitals doing everything or the insurance companies doing everything, is it puts the choice back on you. And so then it would be income based. The higher incomes would get less or none in their state healthcare savings plan. But like his plan, you could buy your own insurance with that. That would count as a medical expense through his program. It's like, so if you want to go out and shop your own insurance, you can use that. If you want insurance that goes,
how is that supposed to help?
Goes above, do what?
How is that supposed to help?
What do you mean?
Tell me what you just described. How is that supposed to be a benefit to people? You're saying
to persons who can't afford insurance currently?
Yes.
It would give them money to afford insurance, presumably.
Well, presumably, if they don't have money, they're going to take more money out of their check to buy something that they can't already afford.
No, but the point is that there would be, his idea is that instead of a Medicare for All that the federal government spends money on, the federal government would put that money into a health savings plan on your behalf, and then you could spend it with the insurance company on your preference.
I don't understand how that's any different than just saving money.
Because it's not your income money directly. Necessarily depends on your means.
He's saying the actual government puts money into your.
It's similar to food stamps. Account. Essentially, is a good way to look at it. Similar to food stamps, is where they don't tell you. They don't just send you the grocery store. Like, so, yeah. If you do it as a food stamp grocery store versus healthcare, it's like you don't go to the grocery store and just take what you want because you're on food stamps. You go and get it, and it's credited against how much you have in food stamp stuff. You just take everything you want. And there are some limitations to it. You can't buy alcohol and cigarettes and shit like that on food stamps. And so the government puts money in your food stamp account. And
based on your income level?
Right. It's means based, yes. And then you would so switch it into the healthcare model is, depending on your means, is be how much the government would put into your health savings plan on your behalf. Not taking, they are taking it from you in taxes in the other way, but not out of a paycheck or anything like that. You could add to it on your own. And so you could go out and shop insurance plans individually or even through your company, and that fund put in place for you can pay for it. And then if you don't spend it all, it stays in there. And then when you have extra out-of-pockets, you can use that for extra out-of-pockets and stuff like
that. So the suggestion is the government, the taxpayers essentially, have money that goes back to a worker that they can use for medical expenses only.
Right. In lieu of a Medicare, Medicaid system like we have now. So taking that funding out of that system and putting it into a system like this.
Removing Medicaid altogether.
I don't know he didn't flush it out in the full details.
This seems really fucking stupid.
Okay, why is this really stupid?
First of all, how much money is it going to be? Right? So, if it's going to be $2,000 a person, that's not going to cover an ER visit.
Okay.
So, that's not going to help.
Well, no, that $2,000 would go to pay premiums for an actual health insurance policy. Not for it to just pay the hospital.
So you pay the policy, but, what's your deductible, what's your copay, what's your co-insurance? Right.
It's very dependent on how insurance companies function, sure.
I'd have to to say this is interesting, or I don't know what the phrase was, and I'm not trying to attack your phrase because it was maybe very quick or whatever in your text message thing, but to say that we like this sort of thing without actually having specifics on how this is going to work, so far, at least just how it's been described to me to now, it seems idiotic. Like, oh my God, this is our answer? No, it's not. We're going to remove Medicaid or potentially remove some portions of Medicare, and we can buy our own insurance with it? Why don't we just buy our own insurance anyway? How does that help us at all?
Because those people can't buy their own insurance.
They don't have. Well, if they can't buy their own insurance, they already have Medicaid, so it doesn't matter. They don't have to buy anything.
But then we're just constantly funding. That's a whole. That's a whole.
What are the catches?
That's a whole other. That's a whole other rabbit hole we're going to go down.
Right. I'm just saying that one way or the other, you're still funding it. Like regardless of whether you're funding it through Medicaid or whether you're funding it through them purchasing something that they're going to purchase, but then not pay for their deductibles or their co-insurance or whatever. Like they're still not going to pay it, which means the taxpayers are going to pay back the hospital for that in the first. So that's
sounds
not
like it's just kind of shifting the money.
Yeah, that's all. That's all I'm saying.
But one of the things that I think that I don't know the facts on, and maybe you can help a little bit. And again, this goes into it. It would need to be much more fleshed out. Is one of his arguments was that the United States healthcare system, as ridiculously expensive it is also the foremost leader in innovation and progress in furthering healthcare in general.
But we're like 15th in health outcomes.
Yeah, which is pretty fucked up. Like,
absurd.
They have a high infant mortality rate, on the level with like Cambodia and quote unquote
that's not
third
made
world
up.
countries.
That's a real thing.
Right, I understand.
That's because we incentivize people not to fucking work.
I don't know what that has to do with that, but
I don't
no, it does. When you talk about like infant mortalities and like it's what we're spending, because we spend so much money. Like Mexico, if you don't work in Mexico, like you fucking die and starve. Like you have to work, and we have an incentive in this country not to work. If we treated the people, the poor people like we treat prisoners, that like we provide your health insurance, we provide your housing, and we provide your food, that would be a lot less cost than saying, okay, you're on welfare, you have so many kids, we're just going to give you a check and you buy whatever the fuck you want and then live. Like, I think there needs to be reform when it comes to welfare, which would fix the health, to give us more money to provide health care, to provide housing, to provide a food program. But just giving somebody money is not a fucking solution. And that's where it goes. We're never, ever going to fix health care unless we fix welfare system we have in the United States.
My issue is not with my issue is not primarily with welfare and that sort of thing. Although I do agree it's on the list of things that need to be fixed. A larger issue is if you have a good job and you're a middle income family and you have a heart attack and your insurance plan is not good, you're selling your house and your car and your land and everything because you've spent $750,000 at the hospital. So, like,
well,
I agree.
Then that's not a healthcare, a medical plan issue. That's a medical issue. I mean, there's no reason if I have heart surgery and I have a heart attack and I go in the hospital and they have to care for me for 14 days, that my bill should be $100,000. The people that worked on me and the money I paid for space in their hospital is not worth $100,000.
Apparently, Trump put a bill in that's supposed to take effect sometime this year on that particular item is transparency and pricing for hospitals and their services.
Like if you go to the hospital and you have a medical procedure and you say, I want to pay cash, it's cheaper than if you don't. Like, how is that?
I think some of it's tied to like contracts with insurance. I think they're constantly renegotiating contracts.
Right, and some of it's
insurance company says, I'm only going to give you this much money for this procedure. And a lot of that money ends up just kind of getting rolled down to the consumer, the customer. And when I did emergency room billing, they called it balance billing.
Right.
It's, if a procedure costs $10,000, insurance company says, we're only going to give the hospital $400 or $4,000 to do this, and you've got a $2,000 deductible. You've got that remainder.
Yeah, but
that those billing companies were pretty much and at times illegally rolling that cost onto. Because I think in part of a lot of the contracts they were supposed to just like wipe away that extra money, but a lot of people were getting bills for that extra money, and people usually when you get a bill in the mail, you assume you've got to pay it, or else you're going to go to collections instead of having to fight that. And a lot of people don't have the time to fight that.
But, you tell me why when I went to the hospital for my COVID, when back in last February for the whole COVID stuff, which all that stuff was coming out, and I went to called the VA, and the VA was like, we don't do any COVID testing, you need to go to the ER. So I went to the ER. I spent 2 hours in the ER. Nurse took my vital signs. Doctor came in, talked to me. Nurse came back, did the withdrawal, and then an hour later they were like, "Oh no, you're fine. You don't have the flu. You don't have anything. We'll give you results on your COVID test." $1,000 bill. I was there for 2 hours. Mm-hmm. Why is it $1,000? So let's say that nurse makes $50 an hour, so that's $100. Let's say the doctor makes $100 an hour, so that's $200. Why the fuck is there a $1,000 bill? Why do they charge you $45 for an ibuprofen? Like, that is the problem. I don't think it has anything to do with insurance. I don't think it has to do with what hospitals and the medical profession charge for the services they provide.
Did they give you a bill breakdown at all? I guess when they sent it to you?
I didn't get anything. I got a bill that said I owe $1,042.
I don't disagree with that.
I thought it would be covered by the VA, but I'm working on that right now.
I don't disagree with that.
I passed a law that said that basically nobody could charge you for it. Because there are a lot of people that were getting excess bills.
That was prior to...
But I heard some of that was, the doctor's office or whoever was testing would also test for other things. So they're like, oh, well, we also had to test you for the flu because we had to rule out this, and we tested for TB to rule out this. So when you thought you were going in to just get a COVID test, they were actually doing a little bit extra.
They did a COVID
and just not really telling you, but throwing it down. They're like, oh, well, we also had to do this, and
maybe
we had to send it off to another lab to double check this.
But still, it shouldn't cost that much.
I agree. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
And so, going around in a circle about this is just going to be like, oh, so we fix healthcare. Okay, well, we fix that people can have insurance and pay for health care, but we're not still fixing the problem that what they charge for procedures and all this stuff is just outlandish. Right. And are hospitals charging that much because they have to cover all the people that come in and get procedures that don't pay for shit? That's But then it screws the people that can pay for it, and it's like, I don't know. I think there just needs to be... you can say you want healthcare reform or Medicare for all. You want all that stuff. But if we're not going to fix insurance companies and hospitals, then what's the point? Right. It's just going to get worse and worse.
And you hear about Medicare fraud left and right. That's basically the doctors just overcharging the government because they're like, the government's going to cut me a check for it.
Yeah.
Well, and just individuals defrauding and being outside the income.
It goes on the patient side as well. Yeah.
But and as a business person, if I'm like, oh yeah, he's in a little pain, let me give him some stuff, because I know that I can charge the insurance company $400 for, a painkiller, then if I own the hospital, I'd do the same thing because I can do that. I'm not breaking the law by doing that, and it's if you, unless just like walking a dog, he's going to take out that string as far as you let him go.
Probably just a kind of big money grab.
And AC's like, no, that's why I make so much money. Shut the fuck up.
No, I was sitting here thinking my issue isn't just in healthcare. My issue is in other industries for the same reason. We were having a conversation before we started the show about utility districts. There's no reason why we only have one utility district in your particular area. There's no competition for it, so it's essentially a monopoly. Right.
Well, hold on. I'm sorry to interrupt, but on the same thought though, but that's what's weird about the hospitals is that there is more than one available, and
to some people, depending on your insurance.
Well, but I'm just saying, but regardless, is that there are different buildings that I can go in owned by different people to get the work done, for lack of a better word. There is theoretical competition in place
for general work, sure. For specific work, no.
But it doesn't seem to act like that in practice.
Again, for general work, right. Yes. For specific work, no.
Right, but you don't see a Fort Sanders, a UT, Tenova or whatever competing in pricing, like other businesses compete in pricing or service or whatever. Like
I would argue they don't have to. If you have two gas stations on the same corner, there's no reason to go to the lowest common denominator. If they just say, hey, listen, we're not going to compete against one another because we both win. Why would you do that?
I'm okay. Yes, that's what I was getting at. But okay.
I don't know why that's funny. I'm just saying that there's why would you do that?
But gas stations do compete with each other.
Mm-hmm.
On opposite corners.
Oh yeah.
There's not a race to go down on their gas prices. Is what I'm saying.
No, because they don't make money off gas.
Yeah,
anyway.
We've had that conversation. I'm not sure what we're even really talking about anymore.
I'm talking about healthcare. Did you not?
Healthcare gas
You were
stations.
the person that brought in gas stations to the healthcare conversation.
It was rhetorical.
And I interrupted with bringing us back into healthcare as we were going on into utilities.
But the thing with the utilities is you can't have I mean, you would have to have, multiple people running multiple lines. You have multiple people running water lines, so you don't have a choice in the matter. So that's
why not? We should. I mean,
and they're subsidized to do it too. That's the other part of it.
Yeah.
So we want
put lines up.
So it should be Knox counties. It should be the taxpayers.
We want to start our own power company.
Mm-hmm.
So we would have to negotiate something with TVA or have a big solar field to build or something like that.
That's our supplier, check, yeah.
And then we would have to run lines to all those houses. So you would have, 2 wires running in front of everybody's house for the 2 different things. And the infrastructure that you'd have to build for that is just not cost effective to not use what's already there. So you're stuck with one phone company.
But you say the phrase not cost effective while we're about to start complaining about how expensive it is.
No, it's not cost effective for somebody to start their own company to do that.
Right, well, it's not cost effective because they're subsidized by the state anyway. I mean, like, yeah, you go back and you look at those like 1880s, 1900s New York City streets or whatever when they have like the telephone poles and stuff when there's like 100 lines, or like good Cambodia joke earlier, like you go and you see where they have those lines that have like 50 different lines on them because each phone line coming out of the house has their own individual line that runs all the way across because the technology wasn't there to do whatever. Yeah, that's problematic. But if there were three companies providing power to my neighborhood, it's not going to look any different than it does right now.
No, but still, you would have to, for somebody to start something up like that, the cost would be.
What I'm saying
enormous.
is, if you're getting a subsidy for that, depending on how much that subsidy is, it really should be the communities, not the companies.
So you want
right. So you don't right. So if we like in your example, if you and I wanted to start a power company, sure, we negotiate with TVA about how much we're paying them for the actual supply of the power. But for all the poles that are already existing, we should be able to just run our line on that pole at zero cost because the community would own it because the community subsidized it for KUB. So it's everybody's pole. We can put our business on that pole.
But a storm comes through, who pays the cost to fix that? You got 3 companies basically saying like no.
I'm sure that there are tax write-offs for when that happens. I'm sure. I'm happy to look that up.
They probably have insurance.
But that is probably the only.
But whose insurance gets filed?
Like, power should be the same. Water should be the same. Like,
same what?
Same cost. Like, I should not pay more money for Hallsdale Powell water that you pay for
We're agreeing with
LCUB.
You.
Like, that's so. Why is there not?
I mean,
and this is the one thing this is probably the only thing in my life that I'll ever say is, why is there not an agency out there that controls the cost that they can charge?
Controls is an overstatement, but we do have the Knox County Mayor's office, Mayor Kane's office, has a body that is appointed of persons to oversight our local utilities.
So why is my water consumption I pay more than what you pay?
Well, I mean, on a pure business standpoint, there could be a dozen reasons. Because you're probably right. Because again, TVA is where is the pure provider of the water. But for KUB, for me here, it might cost them less to get, because the size they are and all that kind of stuff. It might cost them less because they have more infrastructure in place to get the water to my house, and that's why my water's cheaper than yours. But my understanding of the Hallsdale Powell thing specifically is that when they took over from whoever they did like 25 years ago, whoever they replaced there, that the community was much more rural back then, so they didn't have a lot of infrastructure in place, and what was there was old and decrepit. And so the reason it costs more is because they are retrofitting and re-updating everything in there, plus adding miles and miles and miles and miles of new line because of all these neighborhoods that are popping up everywhere and all that kind of stuff. That's the argument I've heard, at least. I don't know the facts on it. I haven't talked with anybody from Hallsdale Powell on it, but that's the argument that's in play, that is Hallsdale Powell defending their pricing.
Yeah, it's bullshit.
But I mean,
they're passing along their costs.
Right. Well, it goes back to
creating a business.
And again, in the pre-show, we were talking about it because KUB's been.
Hallsdale Powell has the nicest water office I've ever seen in my life, and I don't know if you can pull the financials from whoever owes Hallsdale Powell and how much they make versus
that's where the
different
money
water
went.
companies. Yeah, no shit. Their office is not.
And I think
they've got their own pet duck.
And I think that goes into what AC was getting to, and what we talked about in the pre-show is that if it's a utility and we give them the authority to be said monopoly, we allow that monopoly to happen, the person's running said monopoly shouldn't be able to make high 6 figures.
100% agree with that. There's no fucking way.
You said it. I was saying what you said. I wasn't stating it on my own. So
it's
you're
probably
agreeing with yourself. That's all I was getting.
I'm not sure what
7
that point
figures.
was. I'm not sure what your point of that was.
I was saying, my point was that I wasn't saying that. That was what you were saying.
I'm saying in the times in the past where you fucked up quoting somebody, I'm saying this time was not an example of that.
You agree with my summation of your statement.
That's what I was trying to say.
Right.
Yes.
I was just making sure you weren't agreeing with my outlook, because I want to make sure you knew that wasn't necessarily my outlook.
Your outlook is incorrect if you disagree with what I'm saying.
I mean, again, and as we were talking about before, like, it's an incentives conversation. That's one of the things at play here, especially with the utility board, is that they're subsidized for some of the infrastructure is subsidized by us, the taxpayer, and this board that exists inside the mayor's office is supposed to be the oversight, and that is supposed to be the people that are keeping the incentives in line for us, because we are the ones that are paying the.
So for you to tap in, because we've talked about your septic and stuff, for you to tap into KUB. Not the work to be done to tap into the KEB sewer line. What does that cost?
$1,552.
So $1,500.
Yeah, I just signed the paperwork yesterday.
So that's not for them to run lines. That's just to have access. You still have to pay for all the piping to it.
Right. It's going to cost me like $6,500 for the plumber to do.
For the plumber, and then but $1,552 to tap in.
Right, and then like $100 plus on my utility bill for the end of time, until the end of time.
Oh, because of your yes.
I add wastewater. Yeah.
Okay, it's $2,500 for Hallsdale Powell for me to tap in their water line.
Okay.
That's $1,000 more than KEB for the same thing.
Their employees are either 1,000 times better or 1,000 times worse.
That's what can't happen when they're like, "You're our only option."
That's what I'm saying. Like, why is KEB so much higher? Or Hallsdale Power so much higher than KUB. It doesn't make any sense. We've went over this. There should be something that stops companies from gouging, and especially when you're a monopoly.
That's regulation.
Right, and that's why he said at the beginning of it, you're not going to hear me say this often, but this one.
Well, there's two. He said hospitals also, or healthcare rather.
No, hospitals, not healthcare.
Okay. So, knoxnews.com, previous KUB CEO, the name of this individual was Gabrielle Bolus.
Don't even like her already.
Sounds wonderful.
I take offense to your assumption that it was a female.
Gabrielle.
Could be Gabriel.
I do. Oh, but like, okay, so we need to start doing.
Hold on, let me finish.
I don't like it anyway.
Hold on a goddamn minute. $352,600 she made a year.
Say again? 352?
$352,600. Yeah. That's a lot of fucking money.
Yeah. You know, the law director for Knox County does like $180,000 a year as an elected official. I don't remember what the mayor was. You looked it up one time. What Mayor Kane makes.
Yeah,
it's like a quarter. It's like 250 or so.
He makes more than a senator.
Yeah, it's a good bit. The Dr. Buchanan makes like 170. Apparently, the chief medical officer for the county makes like 3 something. Chief medical examiner. Actually, AC, you can explain what that is. Do you know what the chief medical examiner is as a person? Like, is that
the person that oversees autopsies and that sort of thing? I would imagine.
I don't know. But it was an interesting. Matt Shears brought it up as an interesting little tidbit because the chief medical examiner for the county makes almost twice as much as Buchanan does, and Buchanan being the boss of that person.
Yeah, she's technically under her.
Yeah, so. But yeah, okay, so what you said, 152? 252. KUB made? I'm trying to go back. 352, okay. Yeah, we found Hallsdale's person? What they make? Everybody's playing on their phones looking for stuff, and
I ain't touch my damn phone.
You and Sam have a conversation.
What are you guys looking up?
I'm looking up the Hallsdale Powell CEO.
Okay. I don't know. How are things, buddy? How you been?
Oh, been okay.
I like that shirt. That's a nice shirt. I like that little t-shirt hoodie thing. I like those combos.
It's actually it's the company. I thought it insinuated it says Red Bud, and it's a Mellow Mushroom shirt. And I always kind of thought it was kind of associating drugs. My first impression, I was like, that's weird. They got drug references. Found out it's actually the company that when Mellow Mushroom started, it's where they actually get their flour from.
Huh.
I was like, oh, I feel bad now for just assuming it was a drug reference.
Well, I mean,
yeah, I thought it was a drug reference either.
I learned about in city ordinance on how murals are allowed to be up. and they referenced that one. The metal mushroom on campus. The city made them change their mural.
Is there a mural on the side of their building?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Because the original one had a bunch of mushrooms and stuff on it,
Mm-hmm.
and the mural rules it cannot be construed in any way, shape, or form as advertisement.
Well, I guess we got to redo Alice in Wonderland.
Why?
No, the caterpillar. I'm just mushroom references.
Oh no, but but that's but if they did an Alice in Wonderland mural on there, they might not be if there's no mushrooms in the picture, it wouldn't be a problem. But
there's that one store I always kept saying, it's like everything mushrooms. They specialize in,
Oh yeah, down there on.
I wonder if they can't have pictures of mushrooms. It's like it's fucking mushrooms. And why you got to assume it's psilocybin?
It's
like, you know how many other things?
You know, psilocybin spores are legal.
Are legal?
Yeah.
You just can't grow the mushrooms.
I have 6 shots at my house of psilocybin spores right now because it's illegal. You can just buy them online. Now, if I do anything with those and grow mushrooms, then it's illegal.
So that's random.
I'm using them for scientific research to look under a microscope,
right? To see what the inside of your brain looks like.
Exactly.
But yeah, so you can't you just can't it can't be construed as advertisement for it, even if it's random, it is. But
it's really vague.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess when you have, their character was a mushroom, and obviously it looks like he's really high. I can see that, but
yeah, there's certainly.
I got on a kick of doing some Aboriginal research of Australia. It's been pretty fascinating.
Apparently, AC just go ahead. Aboriginal research.
Oh, that's crazy. Archaeologists estimate that their culture goes back 50 to 60,000 years. I was like, that's nuts. It's literally one of the oldest cultures in the world.
Marvin Hammond has retired from the Hallsdale Powell Utility District, but he will still draw a hefty paycheck. So he retired serving as president, earning $200,000 in 2009. He earned $184,000 in 2010.
You're a lot quicker than me for some reason.
On the contract he signed in 2008, the district agreed to pay him a minimum of 80 hours a month in the first year of his consulting role. So he retired to be a consultant and made 80% of his salary after he left. Is that what I'm reading?
You're also reading that when he retired, he gave his position to his son-in-law.
Right.
So anyway, the point of all that is so the CEO of Hallsdale Powell is making $200,000+ a year. When he retires, he's keeping it in the family, and as he retires, he's still getting 80% of his salary after he retires.
Right.
That's where some of your money's going.
Yeah.
That is a fancy looking office.
I'm telling you, man. They literally have a duck that lives there. They built a house for it and everything.
Oh, you got some water fountains in there.
I mean, that Miller's building downtown probably ain't cheap where KUB's at.
They moving it? I thought they were getting ready to move into a different building.
I don't know. I just knew it was there. I remember when I was we got a scam call one time, and they were telling us our KUB was about to get turned off. And I was like, well, where do I go to pay? And they actually told me, they gave me the address to the Miller's building downtown. And I was like, well, what do I do? Like, it's just one of those ridiculous. And it's like, go buy some gift cards. Just read the numbers off. Okay, let me do that.
Give them gift cards. Oh, yeah.
People fall for it. I mean,
it's pretty sad.
Places wouldn't try that if it didn't work at some point.
Have you guys been winning any of these Amazon contests lately?
Yeah.
$50 gift cards and stuff.
No.
I've got a new one. Actually,
I gave my Social Security number to this guy in Sudan the other day. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, it was like you've won a $50 gift card from Amazon, whatever. I got a new one today that was third stimulus check. Find out how to get your money.
You already got it.
No.
You didn't?
No, I got my money. But there's a new one coming out, and if you click on this website and how to get the money deposited in your account, and it's like
just enter your billing information. We'll take care of the rest.
In your account information. It's like if there's a stimulus check coming, it comes to my account.
Right, automatically.
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't heard. I remember when we got our first one, you were telling about back in Georgia again about a bunch of people near riots outside their check cashing place that did their taxes for them.
Yeah,
I haven't heard any more on that story. There's only been of all the other ones.
Yeah, they finally figured it out. Yeah, it's people are stupid. Like, Jesus, I hate taxes.
Yeah, we're behind on ours.
They pushed it back till May.
It's the 15th.
I know.
It's the due date.
We filed an extension anyway, so.
No, I thought they federally moved it back to like the middle of May. Like,
they
gave everybody an extra month. Or is that just for personal?
That's personal. Yeah, we had a business was due 2 weeks ago, a week and a half ago, something like that. Yeah. We filed an extension. So when I say we, I mean the collective of our accountant. Like, have you talked to her about opening up a separate 501c charity? And she's like, can you wait till after tax season? I was like, yeah. At first, she was like, are you talking about the podcast? And I was like, no, this is something completely different. She's like, oh. Yeah,
we really drop a lot of random stuff on her when we get in the mood. But, yeah, because I've talked to her about not the podcast itself, but the people dumb enough to pay me to come sit in this disgusting, dirty, gross Sanford and Son room.
Yeah, you nailed it.
Well, she did say, I was talking about, I sold the food truck, so we're not in the food truck anymore, and converting that business into a separate business for my wife's crafting business and Mermaid Cordelia. If you guys look her up on line, a lot of crafts and stuff.
Go to EV Lounge, you can find all her stuff.
And so... Anyway, I was talking to her, and she said, let's not set one up for her because she said with the new Biden tax plan, the whole thing is businesses that make over $400,000 or businesses under $400,000 are not affected. She says that's only for current businesses, but any new business that you enroll in falls under that plan.
So we're waiting. So she's waiting to.
No, she said just run as a sole proprietorship right now and just do all the income on your personal taxes. Because if we set up a business for her right now, and it's not doing a lot of business, your tax implications from that business are going to be higher under Biden's new tax plan. Because this plan is only affecting people that make over $400,000 a year. Is only for current businesses but any new business will fall under that plan.
Gotcha.
And I'm like, that's something you don't hear.
Nope, not at all.
No, it's just an exemption for if you're working right now.
Right. If you have a business right now that's doing okay, mediocre at best.
But if you want to open a new business, then you fall under that new plan, no matter how much money you make.
Interesting. Because with corporate tax rates, they're trying to get it from. Trump dropped it to 21, and they're trying to get it back up to like 28. I think.
Yes, 28. Yeah,
I think it was sort of that Biden's trying to find a way in the middle. I think they're now trying to agree on 25%.
Yeah, I heard 24 at some point in conversation too.
Apparently, he was in talk with major corporations and trying to find middle ground in that.
Which I don't get. Like I again, this is one that I don't probably have enough knowledge on. That I probably shouldn't speak on. But like, I feel like a good chunk of that is kind of misrepresented in the sense that Bezos still pays taxes, even though Amazon doesn't pay much.
No, and that's the thing when they say Amazon doesn't pay much taxes, but like most of your tax burden is under the personal,
right,
and not under the taxes.
Your individual income tax is the biggest where you're going to get it.
Yeah, so even though Amazon's not paying a bunch, Bezos is.
Right, and especially with Bezos too, is like everybody's like, well, he's like a trillionaire or whatever, and it's like, well, his net worth is $1 trillion. He doesn't have $1 trillion. He doesn't have a bank account with $1 trillion sitting in it. His company is worth a whole bunch of money, and again, the company being worth $500 million or a couple $1 billion or whatever it is doesn't mean that Amazon has $1 billion in cash just sitting around. It means that if he were to sell it today, he could theoretically get that for it. Like,
well, it's just what did we do last year? 1.1, 1 point, a little over 1.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean we're millionaires,
right?
I
mean, it does on loan documents when you're asking for a loan. I say I've made $1 million last year, but yeah. Exactly.
Now AC, yes, he's got $1 million sitting in his bank account.
We decided not to file taxes until after the stimulus because we would not have gotten a stimulus check at all. No way, wouldn't have happened.
That's what happens when you make $1 billion a year.
You don't pay taxes, exactly.
$2 billion,
That's right.
sir.
Once you get up there, once you start flirting with like 13 figures or whatever, you just stop paying taxes. That's how it works.
14 figures.
14.
Whatever, it's over 13. It gets my point across.
And going back to how much hospitals charge people.
But I think going back though, I think the utility, like, that is an issue with utility stuff, and it's what I was talking about before the show is like there's an incentives play here. We're giving you this as a community. We're giving you the monopoly. We're subsidizing some of your construction and stuff like that. Like, even if it's not direct subsidy, it's like, well, you're digging up the road to put to lay new water pipe. I'm pretty sure the county's still paying to repair that road, even though it's not a normal repair from wear and tear. It's a repair from you digging that up. Stuff like that happens, and there's no incentive for them to do better or to price better or anything like that because they can get away with it.
Well, I mean, it's just like it's like the subsidies for farming. Even though I like farmers. If there's any farmers out there, I apologize.
You do like farmers, or you don't like farmers?
I do like farmers.
I don't know anybody who doesn't like farmers.
If I was single, I'd be on farmer single. Is that a thing? Anyway, but like when the government pays them not to grow a crop, it's like, why not say, hey, we're going to pay you to grow this crop. Instead of saying we're going to pay you not to grow a crop and give you this subsidy, say you're going to grow this crop and it's going to go for government food programs or whatever. Like, I don't get that as that being a thing.
Yeah, I started digging into some of those a while back, and I think on average, most farmers, like 40% of their yearly income comes from the government.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was like, that's crazy.
And then wasn't it you?
Like, what other industry?
Didn't you send a message about like you said some 60% is food waste? I can't remember exactly what your reference was, but you were talking about how much waste goes into food production or something like that.
Fruits and vegetables, yeah, on average has about 60% waste.
Well, see, I was in Costa Rica talking to a farmer.
Because he likes farmers.
Yeah. No, it is.
And would date them if he wasn't married.
He was a big old burly guy farmer. Farmer Ted was his name, and I was talking about we're talking about farming and how is that? I was like, man, it's like, how does that work when I said farming because he's from Kansas and he has 50,000 acres, something like that. And
Hold on. There's a guy from Kansas that is now a farmer in Costa Rica?
No, I met him at the resort in Costa Rica.
Okay.
No, not a farmer in Costa Rica. Yeah. I met that's confusing when I said I met a farmer in Costa Rica. I met a guy who farms in the United States in Costa Rica.
Okay.
Backtrack. But he was saying...
Just an excuse to tell about his trip to the resort in Costa Rica.
Let me remind you.
Yeah, and I was like, man, that's...
Small flex.
Yeah.
And I've not dealt with a lot of farmers. What are you talking about?
Let the man talk.
It's called a humble brag, I think is what it's called.
But he said that, I was going on, I was like, man, I just don't know how about farming. Like, that would scare me. Like, you have a fucking hurricane not you have a hurricane, but have tornadoes come through and destroy your crop.
That's terrible if you get a hurricane
in Kansas. It's fucked up. But you get like I said her again. Hurricane. You have a hurricane come through Kansas. You have a tornado that comes through Kansas.
Let's stick with the hypothetical. It doesn't matter.
Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz.
Destroys your crops. Like, damn, that was your whole thing. He was like, no, it really doesn't matter to me. He was like, whether we have a good crop or a bad crop, the government subsidizes our stuff, so we know how much we're going to make at the end of the year anyway. And I was like...
So did you ask him why he bothers, going through the process of pretending like he's farming?
That's a good thing. He's running his plows; they're never putting seed out or whatever, But that's what he said. He said, whether if we have a good year, we make more money, but we know the minimum we're going to make.
So that sort of thing is why I get heated when people are like, "God damn, the future of this country, everything's going to be socialized." Motherfucker, we've been there for decades.
We're already socialized.
Yeah, we've been there forever.
We are socialized. Yeah. Absolutely. We need to not be so socialized.
That's a longer conversation. So, but
yes, it is.
I don't know. It's frustrating when people are like, "Oh my God, the communists are taking over." God damn it, we've been your definition of communist now for ever.
We have, and we need to not go any farther.
No more Costa Rican trips for the Kansas farmer.
Yeah.
And I'll see some crazy things about it.
I'll talk to a farmer when I'm in Cancun or in July.
Or in Vegas, or in New Orleans, or in
New Orleans, or in Curacao.
Or on the moon when you go to Mars.
I've already booked Elon Musk.
Elon Musk thing. He's going to spend the what was it, like 3 weeks? How long does it take to get to Mars?
How tall do you think I am?
He's going to spend that whole time playing Pong with a monkey on his way to on his SpaceX. I mean, that Neuralink, like he talked about, like again, my Roganism comes out, I guess. But first time he was on Rogan when he smoked weed and got in a bunch of trouble. Remember, you guys hear about that story?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, he smoked. He took a puff off of one of Rogan's joints, and it was like the Tesla stock dropped the next day.
I think the board of directors were like, "We need to see you in the principal's office tomorrow."
Yeah, and then it bounced right back. It wasn't that big a deal, but when he was on that episode, he was talking about it. And, that was the first I'd heard of the Neuralink thing. That
he already had it in at that point, right?
What?
The Neuralink?
Nanotechnology has been around for decades also, so this is not a new thing. So if I'm not trying to shit on Musk here, but at the end of the day, if you just look up nanotechnology, it's been around for decades. It's just this is the first time it's been commercialized.
Right. So. Well, yeah, because I mean, his whole thing is that it's a bandwidth issue between, like, because the joke always is like, we're going to turn into cyborgs or whatever, and his reply was like, we already are.
True.
You got your phone in your pocket all the time. I've got glasses on my face. All this different technology that we live in and with, not next to, but it is a part of us at this point. Mm-hmm. And his whole idea behind it is that you got, on a full keyboard, even somebody good at typing, a full keyboard, that lag in bandwidth between the depths of the internet and everything that's going on over there and in your brain is what he's trying to supplant with the Neuralink thing. So you're just, no more thumbs typing or talk to text or any of that. It's just, you think about, we were looking up the Hallsdale CEO salary or whatever. You think about it and it pops in.
That's a problem for me if I'm at work. Because Jesus Christ, the only thing I'm going to see is fucking shit on Pornhub.
Yeah.
You start thinking it's so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just think about it. Well, it's time to have some sex. Oh, shit. Pam and Tommy video.
Cutting people.
What?
Pam Anderson, Tommy Lee Jones, not Tommy Lee Jones. Tommy.
We're not
Lee.
dating ourselves at all.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, Pamela Anderson and Tommy Lee Jones. That'd be an interesting video.
Is that Fugitive 6 coming out?
Yeah.
That's disgusting.
What else were we talking about outside?
I
started.
I think I have a cigar in my future here momentarily.
You always have a cigar in your future.
That's true. Until
you don't.
That's true.
That was my deep statement for this show. Like that. That's heavy.
A cigar. I've never been. I tried to get into cigars for a while.
Yeah.
And every time I smoke one, I'm always like, I'm going to smoke a cigar. And then I light it, and then I'm like, damn, this cigar's long.
You get small.
I'm trying to find like the smaller ones.
Yeah.
You get little cigarillos.
I just get like little ones like that. I just light it and take 2 puffs, and I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, for sure.
I could take a big cigar and cut it down and just have like 6 or 7.
You could do that. do you not like the taste, or is it really just a time thing?
No, I'm not a big fan of the taste.
You're not a big fan of the taste? Have you had a lot?
Yeah, I went probably like 3 years trying to like smoke cigars and cigar boxes and fancy stuff, and like, no.
I just smoke cigarettes for too long, and every once in a while, if I'm not paying attention, I try to inhale, and I cough my ass off.
Yeah,
we're not supposed to do that.
The celebratory episode when we had the first show after the baby came along, we were sitting out back, and you did it. I remember that.
I got the bourbon side down. I just didn't get the cigar side down.
I was good for like 15 minutes.
So for me, it's a lot. It's a taste thing. Like there's a brand in particular that I smoke a lot, but there's some that are not very good.
Give it a plug. Maybe they'll give us sponsorship and send us a box.
I'll talk to them first. I'm not gonna give them free stuff until they give me free stuff.
Well, you gotta plug them so then they hear it and then they're like, oh, we'll send.
They're
you
not
stuff.
gonna hear it. Trust me.
What is it?
I can't say it's a secret.
No, you can say it.
No.
Give them a plug.
Actually, I don't know. That's it might be a legal issue.
What?
I mean, you can't advertise tobacco.
He's not advertising tobacco. He's just saying what tobacco he likes.
I don't know. I know, like, Like Rogan talks about, like Rogan on his show will talk about cigars and stuff, but he talks about the cigar shop he uses or the cigar service because he has a guy that comes out and brings him boxes of whatever.
Nika.
No, keep saying it wrong, and then he'll say the whole thing, which was the point of your whole episode.
Bastica. Nika Bastica.
Yeah,
that's an R.
Oh, I don't have glasses. Rustica. Nika Rustica.
You don't have glasses, or you need them and don't have them?
I have glasses.
He lost them with the Costa Rican Kansas farmer.
No, I just need it for reading, and so that's another reason I don't smoke cigars because
it messes with your vision.
No, because like if I smoke a cigar, I need some bourbon and I need some leather-bound book to read, and I don't read, so
get a book to tape.
I was prepped for the punchline. I was gonna deliver that. He beat me to his own punchline. Like I was ready to go. It's like, but you don't. Oh shit! You beat me to it.
That's fair.
You get audiobooks. Do you do audiobooks?
I do like audiobooks.
This is nice.
Like that?
Yeah, I do actually.
Okay.
I don't know what this is all about.
Those are clamps.
Those are clips for the green screen.
That's a clamp.
That's what he hooks his children to when they misbehave.
You're going to timeout.
Okay. I do. This is nice. What is this in here for?
Because it was out there and it was in the way for what was going on out there.
Huh.
What was going on out there? I mean, you had like a whole little sitting area, like 2 TVs and stuff. Like,
yeah, that's their video game station. They sit there and they have their TVs. But right now,
that's cool.
Right now, their uncle's staying the weekend hanging out, and he brought his VR setup, and so we had to clear the space so there was room to play VR.
Makes sense.
So there's a couple items in here that are usually out there. But
I was wondering, it looked out of place. It didn't fit with the rest of the decor.
Because it's
nice looking.
How's that? Okay.
You guys ever heard these called hall trees?
Yes.
My family. Okay. I didn't know if it was like a northern or southern thing. I've got family that call them hall trees. And I'm like,
well, I've lived all over the place.
Heard that
I don't know
South.
if that's a South thing, but I've heard it hall tree.
I've been just a coat tree.
A coat rack, yeah.
I mean, I've also heard hall trees of like where you it has like a little seating area and then hooks and stuff like
it's like a little locker kind of thing.
Yeah, like a whole little system that you hang coats on. Like people are doing those with doors where they take a door and put hooks on it and put a little base thing and then
little thing underneath for your shoes and muddy shoes and whatnot. Yeah. On this week's episode, home crafts.
You know what's not happening at my house? My house is not fucking finished.
Well, I know the guy you might want to talk to. You might be.
No, I fired him.
Did you?
Yeah.
Maybe that's why he's home all the time now.
Yeah.
Wasn't he home all the time anyway?
Anyway, exactly.
Oh, that sucks. I guess he didn't have a choice but to finish mine since he was right next door.
I mean, surely he knows you guys are in partnership together.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, not like that partnership, but maybe like that partnership, but
no, I don't tickle.
That's fair.
I'm not ticklish.
Doesn't mean you don't like tickles.
No, I don't like tickles.
God damn.
So you never reciprocate that.
How the fuck did that even come up? How did that come up first? Like
you brought it up. You said
I didn't. No.
You said I don't know if you guys are partners, like partners.
No.
The
original story of the tickle monster over here.
I recall
it was a bet. Like the first, but we're like, you said, okay, should we do something for the first person that shoots a deer this weekend? And he goes,
right.
What? Like they get a tickle?
That's
and
right.
We're like, what?
That's right. I'm sorry, I forgot about that. Sorry. Tip of the cap to you, sir.
These are the things that I've remembered real well.
I'm glad you asked that because I started to wonder. I'm like, where did all this tickle
Yeah,
start?
like I was wondering that too. I was like, it's been a joke now, but goddamn it, how did it start?
Where did it come from?
And that's why it's a good joke, is because it doesn't go away, even though we don't remember where it started. But now
still funny for no reason.
Yeah,
just because we keep it going.
The funniest thing about that story is when I was dropping you guys off, and his wife came out to the RV and was helping unload stuff, and I was like, your husband was wanting to tickle us, and she goes, that doesn't surprise me.
Well, didn't when you were still working full time and we spent all day on the phone together and stuff like that? Didn't your wife refer to me as your boyfriend?
Yeah, your work husband.
Yeah.
So maybe that's Max's fault.
Good times.
Yeah, I encouraged.
Yeah,
his homosexuality. Not that it's a problem. Well, I mean, it's a problem for me, but I don't have a problem with other people.
Right. You don't have a problem with other people being homosexual. You just have a problem with the fact that you are with the tickle monster.
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly.
Just want to make sure I understand what we're saying. He looks really confused back there.
We're going to have this podcast in 30 years, and Seth's going to be sitting with his boyfriend next to him. We're like, knew it. Called that shit 20 years ago.
Yeah, that's what's going to happen. You got it. This is episode 80, by the way.
80.
So we got.
So what happened to 69? That should have been like a good episode.
You called in for that one.
No.
We got turned around on it.
Oh! Gems. Jesus Christ.
One of us was always upside down.
Now I gotta.
I really like if somebody has actually been listening.
Don't worry, they haven't.
From like the first show till now, and they're still listening to our episodes. Like, is there a way to comment like on our pages or shoot something out?
Do it because those folks don't exist.
Like
episode 69 was Becky Massey.
So, like, is there like a way for people
we've had some interaction on there.
So, if you have been listening,
AC's in charge of our Twitter page, and we've got a rocking 7 followers.
You're welcome.
I've been putting some work in on our Facebook page, and we're well over 100. Thank you very much.
Facebook is easy to use.
So, if you have been listening since day one till now. And you send us, or if you listen to all our episodes, you make a post or something, and we will contact you, and we'll send you something for free. But you got to make some reference how you know that so we know you've been listening since day one.
List off every single episode, and
we need your IP address so we can verify.
In the 7th minute.
No, just to give some
your
references.
Social Security number and your bank account.
Yes, your bank
we
account
put a timeline
and
on this,
your ATM number. So we can get into your credit
your
card.
4-digit PIN, just in case. We don't want to accidentally not be able to deposit the funds into your account.
That would be cool that someone has been listening this whole time. And
I mean, we do. We
away.
have. I don't know that we have one from start to finish. I mean, Todd's been a pretty regular listener since he was on the show. That's the only one I could say that I have any inkling of whether or not they've been listening. I mean, like he made reference the other day when I did the Kyle Ward episode that he's like, I've fallen behind a couple episodes, but I'll catch up. You know, and I'm trying to get him back on.
Awesome.
He's moving.
We'll send you a Almost Agreement T-shirt
that Max's wife will be making.
Yes,
custom.
She just made 60 yesterday and today shirts for her band, Nine Liners Band. Look them up. Also go to eVape Lounge and pick up their album. Yes, it is for sale there. And apparently some money goes towards something veterans related. Veterans. On veterans, I was listening to a Jocko. Jocko was on Jordan B. Peterson podcast. I was listening to that earlier today too. Jocko's a pretty he freaks me out. I might order his kids' books though. He apparently he's got like 4 kids' books.
I think I heard about that.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna get one and see if I can get my eldest to read it.
Is everything exclamated like he's yelling?
Well, no, like I was just saying, like I'm so used to him. Like I mean, he's been on Rogan before, and he's an intense dude. Yeah. He just is.
Oh yeah.
But he was not he didn't come off as intense on the Jordan Peterson podcast. Maybe because Jordan Peterson's like 5'7" and 112 pounds. But
see, I thought he was tall. All the videos I've seen of him, he looks like just kind of tall and lanky.
He's just he's a lanky dude. But
TV's so hard to understand how tall somebody is.
It's true. And I listen. I don't. Most of the podcasts I listen to have video complimentaries. Like you can go and watch them on YouTube, but I barely I've watched like I don't know how many thousands of hours I've listened to Rogan, but I've watched maybe an hour of a Rogan episode. Like I can't watch Rogan episodes; they're not as much fun.
So I think I've watched more than I've just listened to.
Yeah, I mean, but they do their clips. Like they do a lot of clip stuff, or they'll pull clips out and put them on YouTube. Yeah. And a lot of that's changed now since the Spotify deal. That's the goal here, the $100 million Spotify deal. That's what I'm after.
Mm-hmm. How do we get that?
Be as big as Joe Rogan.
Hey Joe, hey Joe Rogan, give us a plug on your show.
I mean, maybe I don't know. Got to give him. You just got to be interesting to him. That's how he does his shows. But
just every show # Joe Rogan.
Yeah, I did for I will for this one because we reference him in it. But I don't for other stuff. I mean, again, like for me in the future of the show or whatever, like the local politics part, the other part that you guys aren't here for. I think there's value in what we're doing as this group too, but I think it's a limited market I'm selling to. I'm only selling to Knoxville, Knox County. Yeah. Like our shows, like this show, anybody could listen to anywhere and they could relate to just a group of friends talking about stuff or whatever. But the politics side of the show, other than Massey and Maness and some of the state level people, the whole state of Tennessee could, if they were really into politics, could have value in it. But
we talk about Biden and Trump, that's
what I'm saying. Like our show, like this version of the show.
Oh, you're talking about that,
right? But like when I have
show.
like Chris Davis, like who, like anybody in Nashville give a shit who Chris Davis is?
Oh, they better, because he's big.
Right, he's a big deal. I mean, he's the administrator of the Knox County Election Commission. What does that mean to? I mean, Anderson County, let alone anywhere else. And so, but it's super interesting, cool stuff. Like the turnout for the city election coming up is going to be dirt, because it always is, and all the kind of different stuff like that. And apparently,
all 7 people that show up.
I mean, it's bad. Like, I mean, I can't remember. He was talking about one of his locations. Well, not his locations. One of the polling locations for the last version of the city election that wasn't a mayoral one. So 4 years ago, so the 2017, he had one station that he had to run early voting for. That in the entire early voting and general election for that station did a total of like 6,000 people. And so he had days, entire days of early voting were 3 or 4 people. And he had to have volunteers, and not volunteers. They call them volunteers, but they're paid. Like if you go work a polling station, if you go work a poll, anyway.
Yeah, those girls make a lot more money.
They make a ton of money. It's all cash too. You don't have to claim it. Anyway, but he had to pay workers to go out and work these stations, and would have handfuls.
I thought the
of
workers were volunteers.
They always call them that. They volunteer to work, but they get paid to work.
Really?
Yeah.
So when you have to go to work on Tuesday, you're volunteering to go to work.
If you want to get if you want to get hardcore Austrian economics libertarian on it, that's what you're doing every day when you go to work.
Oh, shit. I thought all these old people had nothing better to do than to go out to these fucking polling stations, but they're actually getting paid?
Mm-hmm. And they get pizza and shit.
And paid and pizza. I need to go do that.
And unlimited I voted stickers.
You can almost argue when you talk to him next, give him my number, and then when they have polling stuff, I'll go out and work in his station.
It's really easy. You go on to the Knox County Election Commission website, and there's a link.
I want him to call me.
There's a link. He's not going to call you.
Why not?
Because he has plenty of people that volunteer for it through the system they have in place to take on volunteers.
Plenty of people that
volunteer to get paid. But I don't know. Again, for me, this show and all the different parts and pieces that I've learned about how our local government and politics works that nobody pays attention to. That's kind of heartbreaking at the same time how little people pay attention to it. But I mean, it's been super interesting. The sheriff answers to no one, and that's just the way it is. So Sheriff Spangler can do pretty much whatever he wants, and we can't do shit except not elect him next time. And it's a 2-term limited. It's term limited in consecutiveness. So the only reason Jimmy J.J. Jones didn't run again was because you can only serve 2 terms in a row. You can serve as many terms as you want. They just can't be in a row. And so that's why he took the last 4 years off, and he is running again. He's going to primary against Spangler to take his old job back. And
he's probably going to win.
I don't know. I don't know the politics of it well enough yet to say whether or not.
I mean, curious what it takes to recall someone in that position. That is voted in. Everyone's like, well, you can just not vote for him next time he's elected official.
The recall process for any elected official in Knox County is you have to get a petition. You go to the election commission. You pull a petition, and you have 90 days to get 10% of the available population, the available voting population, to sign the petition to then make it a ballot item. I don't know if there's an impeachment process that the commission or the mayor's office could start. I haven't figured that part out yet. But if you and I decided, and because people have tried with the Board of Health thing, people have tried to recall Kyle Ward, Commissioner Biggs, and those guys for this over the Board of Health situation, and it is a very difficult thing to pull off. It's the same thing.
That's what I figured out, because they were talking about that safeguard. It's like, oh, well, we elect these people, so they're beholden to the thing. But at the same time, how hard is it to actually reverse that if it really came down to it?
It's the same process as getting a new party on the ballot. It's the same process as getting a community ballot item on the ticket. So again, same premise. If we want to go legal pot, if we want to form a coalition to try to get pot legal, or at least decriminalize pot in Knox County or whatever, which again, I don't think the sheriff would have to abide even if the commission or the constituency voted so. by rule, but I think he would need to just for the election sake of it, probably. But legally speaking, he has to follow the laws of the state, and if the state doesn't make it so. But again, so if we in Knox County wanted to decriminalize pot in Knox County, as an amendment to the county charter, it would be 30,000 signatures in 90 days. We'd have to get 30,000 signatures in 90 days to make it a ballot item to then be voted on and have to win by a simple majority. Right. So 300 plus people a day that are registered voters in the county, you'd have to get to sign the petition to come out to just to get it on the ballot.
You have to have a lot of support for it.
Right.
In the county or the county and city?
Well, city residents count as county residents. So,
yeah, okay. Yeah. Just make sure.
If we want to do it countywide, if you want to do it in the city, it's the same formula, but it's the city population, and you would have to get, I think there's 190,000 residents in the city or something like that, so you'd have to get 19,000 in the city of Knoxville. But see, I don't know how that would work on the same legal thing, because the sheriff's office has oversight on the city. So a sheriff's deputy could roll down Gay Street and you're smoking a joint on the sidewalk, and even if it was decriminalized, the sheriff's deputy could pick you up. Right. But if the KPD rule will change, I don't know. See, that's one of these are the things that I've enjoyed trying to get to the bottom of, and still knowing nothing.
Yeah, so it's the same population of Wyoming.
The city of Knoxville?
County of Knoxville.
County of Knoxville, yeah, it's about right. About 500,000. Just short of 500,000.
470,000.
Yeah, we'll get up there. We'll get out by 2030. We'll be in like the 600 plus. That's what the commission, the planning commission or whatever, is banking on. I think it's going faster than that. I think my metro is coming sooner than everybody else thinks it is too. But I mean, Knoxville's blowing up, and there's some stuff.
All right, I lied to you. Wyoming's population is 577,000.
Yeah, still
100,000 more in the whole state of Wyoming.
I mean, a better one is like, look at Maine.
Well, that's what they talk about with D.C. becoming a state. They're like, there's more people in D.C. than there are in some states.
Yeah, I see that one to me. I don't think there should be any residents. You should not be able to have an address in the district. You should be a resident of Virginia or Maryland.
705,000 people in D.C.
Metro D.C.
Yeah.
Metro or D.C.?
It's not that
Washington,
big.
D.C.
It's not some high-rise
Washington,
apartments.
D.C.
I know, but I
don't think they have a metro in a county or anything. It's just D.C.
When you say metro area, like you say Nashville Metro, some people will include like Murfreesboro because they call it a suburb of it, so they count it.
No, this is just Washington, D.C. because Washington, D.C. is a separate area from Maryland.
Right, the district.
Right, it's
right.
Actual federal district, yeah.
Right, but that's, I mean, you can't, you're not allowed to live in Smoky Mountain or in the Great Smoky Mountain National Park. It's federal property. You don't live there. Like what's another example of federal property that citizens live on? Like, I understand
White House,
huh?
The White House,
right? I understand having the White House and then having apartments or whatever for senators and congresspeople.
It's 2 right now.
Do what?
White House 2.
Well, even in national parks, you've got
2 people
park rangers. You've got park rangers that live there.
Are you counting Biden is dead or what?
No. Biden and his wife. There's only 2 people that live there. He doesn't have his kids. The kids are grown.
It's true, but I don't know why I went like I don't know.
Park rangers live in the parks as well, but that's also federal housing.
Right, that's what I'm saying. It's not that it's not their. It might be their primary residence, but it's not their. I would. It just doesn't make sense.
Is 1.06 million in Rhode Island? Wyoming doesn't have fucking people for shit, do they?
It's fucking big, yeah.
It's a big state. I don't have anybody live there.
Well, what's that? Yeah, there's nothing there. No offense to Wyoming listeners, but there's nothing there to do or see.
Yeah, it's crazy when you look at square miles when they talk about, like our state districts and whatnot, and looking like the district lines, and it's fucking huge when you go out to like the western states because it just is that more expansive.
Yeah. And I mean, and again, like other than what California, Colorado, Arizona, I mean, other than your full West Coast, Arizona, Nevada, I mean, even Nevada outside of the Reno and Vegas. Yeah. I mean, there's like 37 other people in the state of Nevada that aren't Reno or Vegas residents, you know? I mean, even Colorado for that matter. Colorado's got Denver, like that whole stretch. What's the interstate that goes north-south right there?
I-25.
Yeah, so I-25 there, when you got like Loveland and Fort Collins as you're going north towards Wyoming, and then you go south and it gets into Boulder and all that other stuff. Like from...
No, when you go south, you hit Denver, and then you hit... like Colorado Springs, Casserole.
Right, but like east and west of that corridor, there's nothing. Like you go east of Denver to the eastern border, there's nothing there.
You have Rifle.
Yeah. And then you go west, you're in the mountains until you get into what do you get? What's west? Is that Idaho? Utah. I don't know I don't know my geography well enough.
Utah.
It's close. It's not like Idaho is on the other side of the country. Relax.
No, it's north, but you got the four corners, which is Colorado, Utah,
New Mexico,
and
Arizona.
Yeah, New Mexico, Arizona.
Yeah, the south. Yeah. Anyway, point being, you get way more spread out over there until you get over the Rockies, and then it gets crazy.
Yeah,
populated again. But I don't know. How do we get to talking about that?
Shit happens, man. We talk.
It does. It does indeed. Yeah, I lost my train of thought. I thought I was going somewhere with some of that.
I don't know so much farmland's actually in Colorado.
Yeah.
I remember when I was reading a book about, it was kind of talking about McDonald's and how they get their hamburgers to taste the same all across. And one of their main beef is right there. It's Connolly. I'm trying to think the name of the city. There's a big city in Colorado where it's like one of the largest collections of beef cattle.
And a
lot of the residents complain because they constantly just smell manure everywhere.
And it's all McDonald's burgers.
I think it's where they get almost all their burgers from. That's how they get.
So it's the 100% natural. What do they call it? Because like that.
Veggie burger?
No, McDonald's got in trouble because they the brand name of their burger patties is like 100% natural. But it's not. They're not 100% natural patties. It's just
Vermont got pissed off when they brought it like their maple syrup thing.
Pure beef patty.
Yeah, but the brand name is pure beef patty, but it's not a pure beef patty.
No, it is pure beef because if you say pure beef, that means it's all cow, which could be hooves.
Okay.
Moo to the poo.
Moo to the poo.
Moo to the poo. I like that.
But that kind of stuff. Anyway. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Ranching would not be the life for me. I don't think I could handle it. I wouldn't mind doing what Keith did and doing a drive. That sounds like actually it could be a really good time.
Yeah, I thought that would be fun, but like you're talking
brutal. But
I think it's $5,000, not including airfare,
to do a job for a couple weeks.
To do like a 10-day cattle drive. And it's funny because I was watching that video, and like the guy talking about the video was like, "Whether you guys come out here and do this or not, we still do this. We've been doing this for 80 years, driving this cattle from here to here. Like that's their job." Mm-hmm. And then they just find suckers like us to pay $5,000 to
it's literally
to help them.
It's literally city slickers.
It is.
They're literally.
But they've also got to wrangle all these tourists too.
Yeah, I mean, I could see it adding a little bit, and I'm sure they have some sort of like their chuck wagon and stuff like that they have to do extra work to make sure they have enough food.
Think about it. I felt bad for the old like Westing days that chuck wagon guy having to figure out how to feed however many people you had. Usually it was going to like slaughter one of the cows that you're just driving.
Yeah. And beans, like in Blazing Saddles, if that movie's still allowed to be referenced. But I don't know, going back to the healthcare thing for just a tick while he's not here to complain about it. Like, I agree with you 100%. I think there's a cost issue, and it's the hidden cost. And I think that's, if I understand what Crenshaw was talking about in the Trump thing that he put in place, is to get the transparency in the cost of medical procedures, because again, like it's you're not wrong.
I'm all for transparency,
but I think it's there's a full relationship. There's a full issue in it, and the libertarian is like this is as far from a free market as you can get between the relationship between insurance companies, the hospitals, the government, and the patients. That's like, who's the customer? Like, who's the actual customer?
Yeah.
And the real answer is the insurance company and the government are the actual customers. And that is why hospitals operate the way they operate. You and I, when we go in there with a broken arm, are not the customer. We're the product.
It's the insurance company.
We're the product, and for all intents and purposes, us being, we're the, we are the vendor of the product. The product is the procedure they do on us. Us physically are the vendor, and they go in and use us. So one of my kids over there sticking his head around the corner.
He's sticking his head. Okay, so. You'll find this funny. So, Clark County, which is Las Vegas.
Uh-huh.
So I guess metro, which you would say metro area of Las Vegas.
Yeah.
2.23 million.
Okay.
State of Nevada.
Actual residents, not people there for the weekend. Okay.
Yeah. State of Nevada, 3 million.
Yeah. And I bet you Reno's 600,000.
Yeah. So there's 200,000 people that don't live in Reno or Nevada or Vegas.
It's just and I'd say of those couple 100,000 that don't, it's like military personnel on some of those secret bases that are out there in the desert.
I wonder what
they live in Vegas because Area 52 they fly out of Vegas Airport to go there.
That's what I'm saying though. The bases are off in the desert around Vegas.
I wonder how many people on average are in like Vegas on a typical day. Like, like
Google.
Not population, like just
there's a shit ton of hotels. I mean, they're not going under, so people are staying there.
I always think about that, like where the fuck these people park at? Like, you got a couple thousand people working at every hotel. Like, Jesus.
It is sounding to me the one time I went there, in front of the hotels, there's 30 at least taxis just kind of queued up.
Oh
right
yeah,
there, just waiting for like the next person to come out and need a ride.
Uber.
Yeah,
they fucking hate Uber out there.
I got family down in Orlando that fucking hate Uber. They drive like tour buses and get a lot of like the conventions that go on there, but they despise Uber.
Okay, so in Vegas, according to Google, there's 149,422 hotel rooms.
In Las Vegas, yeah.
Right.
That's about right.
So you got to figure probably like a good weekend or whatever, like seven.
The MGM Grand has 6,800 hotel room.
I'd say
the biggest is the Venetian and
well, this one says the largest in Vegas is the MGM Grand at 7, just short of 7,000.
But the Venetian and the Venetian's connected. Like the two hotels, like one side is the Venetian and the other side is
Caesars?
No, it's
never gone
Caesars.
through the Venetian.
It's I can't think of. But those two, like it's basically one place, is the largest.
I would guess that on a given day, there's probably only 250, 300,000 non-residents in Vegas. That would be my guess. I mean, with that number of hotel rooms, I would say that they're not all going to be full,
right? But
you're going to average at least 2 people per room.
Right. People are staying at least 2 or 3 days.
Yeah. So I'd say 300,000 people, give or take, would be a decent average for a number of people in Vegas that aren't residents at a given time, which actually feels a little low to me, but I don't know. Last call. Anything else? Now that AC came back from his potty break, we're going to shut the show now.
Kick it.
You got anything else?
Where you're gone, we found out, like, we're looking at populations like Knox County population is 400 and some thousand, and the whole state of Wyoming is only 500,000.
It's a beautiful state, though.
Then we went on a tangent, and like Vegas,
it's such a good rush.
Vegas metro area is 2 million people, but there's only 3 million people in the whole entire state. Like,
we may have covered this, but it is a little fucked up that they have the same amount of representatives there. That maybe we covered this already, but
not currently. We were off politics on just randomness just now.
Yeah, it's a little fucked up that entire state has the same number of representatives as California and Tennessee and everywhere.
Well, the senators.
Yes.
Same. They don't have the same number of representatives.
Yes.
Thank you for correct.
Allow
me to be a little more precise next time. I apologize. I assume the audience, it didn't matter.
I was just clarifying for clarity's sake, but
I think anybody who's listened to this for 5 seconds probably understands what we're saying.
But I thought that was the point of why we have the suit chambers the way they're set up. Which I'm pretty sure we did already talk about this.
We're rehashing old stuff still. Yeah,
sure. I did. I mean, I did. I mentioned the same a week ago. I was like, we spent a good couple episodes talking a lot about like healthcare and healthcare reform and costs and pricing. And that was not why I brought up the Crenshaw thing earlier today. But I'd mentioned to Steve that, I'll fix that later. That's the first time I've done that in fuck ever. Anyway, I mentioned to Sam a couple weeks ago that we hadn't done like a healthcare conversation in a while, and that was not my intent in bringing the Crenshaw thing up. But
we should prepare for it next time then.
I'm gonna look more into what he was talking about.
Give us our 24-hour homework notice again.
You guys never do it anyway, so why
I don't need to do the homework. I'm ready to go now. Well, not now because we're 2 hours in, but I mean, we can talk about healthcare all day long if you want to.
I mean, I think I think it's one of those that there's
There's a lot of facets to it.
Right, but there's two truisms at play. Everybody agrees there's a problem, and I think for the most part, everybody agrees what the goal would be is to have affordable, quality healthcare for everybody. I think those two things are agreeable, and the real question is, what's the line between the two? How do we get there? How do we get out of the problem that is and into something that's functional and affordable and high quality on the other side? Because one of the things on the Crenshaw thing that again, not having a lot of details on it, is if he was correct in his statement and that we have the highest rate of innovation in new products and the best drugs are made and created here in this country through this system that we have, we need to be very careful about not destroying that incentive structure that gets that.
Well, that's assuming that the incentive structure is what's providing it. I mean, research R&D is what's doing a lot of it. So, I mean, that doesn't have anything to do with the healthcare product that's given here. The research is done prior to
right, but the research is profitable inside this system, which is why the research is done.
Well, it's profitable in any system.
I don't think its intent is the profit. We're not doing research specifically for profit. Doing the research
I think most of them absolutely are. I mean, some
the
schools,
companies or the people.
I mean, some of the schools and the employees maybe, and the researchers maybe not, but like the actual, and even the researcher, at least on a basic level, is doing it for a job. That same person that wants to cure cancer or whatever is not going to be as effective of it if they're not getting paid to do so. They're not going to be. They may still want to do it, and they may still put effort into it, but their ability to do it as a hobby instead of employment is going to significantly change their ability to make any headway on their goal.
I would argue that. I mean, I think it's a semantics thing. I think the people that are actually interested in research that are, I know that you were just using this as a blanket statement, but there is no such thing as a cure for cancer. It's way too complicated than just saying this is the pill. But in the spirit of what you're saying, I totally understand what you're saying. I'm just saying that the people that are interested in that sort of thing would do it regardless, because that is their hobby. They enjoy it so much that they have found a job that is their hobby. I'm
just saying, though, even if agreeing with you on that, having the time and resources to do the research as employment is going to make them more effective as a researcher than if they were doing it as a true hobby, just sitting in the basement and doing stuff like. That's my point in that. But again, I agree. I'm not disagreeing with you that people that are into research are into research and they want to be part of the team that creates the cure or creates the new next best whatever. I agree with that 100%. But I think the companies that are paying them to do that and stuff like that, they're in a profit game just like the rest of us.
I don't think anybody disagrees with that.
Yeah, that's what. But that's the thing that Crenshaw brought up that I thought was something that isn't discussed and is a. Again, not knowing that whether or not it's truly real or not, and on whether his statement of the best advancements, the best drugs, all that stuff's coming out of companies that operate in the American healthcare system, and that's because the cash incentives in play. And how to do better on all the other parts that are a problem, but keep that innovation and keep that
I think
that drive.
To a certain extent, I think it's a false equivalency though, because I mean, at the end of the day, it's the hospitals that are doing it are getting it from grants provided by the federal government. So, in a lot of ways, it's regulations and laws and bills that he potentially is involved with.
Right.
So,
right, because I
think it's rhetoric is what I'm really trying to say.
I follow what you're saying, because I don't know that for a fact on whether it's truly AstraZeneca's making their boatloads of money off the sale of their drugs, or whether it's they're getting reimbursed and subsidized through grants and other programs, or what combination that they're in of. But it's still a profit incentive. It's just how's what A and B. Anyway, I'm curious to dig more into it, and I'll do some research on it. We can make that a thing. I'll wait until Thursday. Remind you guys that we're meeting on Saturday, and I'll tell you on Saturday morning to make sure you've done some research on it. All right, last call. Anybody? Anything else?
Baba Booey, Baba Booey.
Theme music, bitches. All right, that's almost agreement, everybody. Had a long and wandering show like we do, and like we enjoy doing, and I appreciate everybody for coming out and enjoying my uncomfortable, ugly, dirty chairs in my less stinky basement.
That's true. It does smell
with my fantastic coat tree that's in the room for no good reason.
It's nice. It really is.
I mean, I took down the green screen because I figured you'd bitch about that too.
There is no green screen.
Because I took it down. Listen to the words I'm saying.
I didn't hear you. I'm trying to listen. You're mumbling.
I said I took down the green screen. It's sitting up there. That's why we switched it. Anyway, almostagreement@gmail.com, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, website.
Somebody's a little sensitive today.
And running is almostagreement.com. I got ready case coming in later today. I don't think I have anything else currently scheduled, but we're working on more stuff all the time. City races on deck. We got to get Herrera in here for the GOP. That's it. Hit us up on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. Tell us what you're going to hear about. Max said he'll buy you something nice if you tell us about every episode we've ever done. So give it a shot. It's a contest, I guess. Good night, everybody.